Because intimacy is one of the greatest things in life, and fear of not being able to perform should not be something you have to deal with. At Northeast Men's Health, we're ED experts. We've successfully treated tens of thousands of men. Our protocols work when others don't, and we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. You could even last up to an hour or more and perform like you haven't in years. So call us. Your initial appointment is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-930-5956. That's 800-930-5956. Or go to northeastmenshealth.com. We have 6 offices across the Northeast to serve you, including our new office in Warwick, Rhode Island.
Comcast Business High Five Hotline. What's the state of your excitement?
I signed my business up for the 5-year price lock guarantee, and I can't stop high-fiving people. High five!
Okay, deep
high
breath.
Five, high five.
You're in a good place. You signed your business up for 5 years of gig speed internet and advanced security, all on our ultra-reliable network.
Gig speeds and advanced security? I'm so stoked.
Yep, and you get it at a great rate that's locked in for 5 years.
Woo!
The high five is just your body's way of saying, I'm winning.
So this is natural.
High-fiving everyone you see in a state of business savings enthusiasm? Totally natural.
Sweet! Thank you! Thank you! High five, everybody! High five!
The Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee is back, but only for a limited time, so sign your business up today.
High five!
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 9/21/25 for new customers with qualifying bundle. Current customers may be eligible depending on services and area. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
Feel like everything's doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Snakes, zombies, public speaking. The list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really scary and even deadly. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/fax or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay.
You here for 2 weeks or 1 week?
Just a week.
Oh, just a week, okay. Janine was asking. She's like, I only booked him for 1 week, so I don't know.
Hey, yo! Hey, shh, calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio, right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Yeah! Woo! Let's go! And what's going on, all you scallywags, nutmeggers, all across the fruited plain? It's time. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080. And I've got a whole bunch of stuff to get into today. And I'm really, really excited to be out there in a little bit. Because I have so much to do, so many people to see, so many coffees to have. It's unfortunate. I don't drink. So it's like I got to go out and have coffee and dinner, socialize, go to meetings, hobnob, if you will. I'm not a hobnobber. I try my best to. I'm cordial, but I'm really, really excited to do it because I get to talk to so many people, hang out with so many people I like and enjoy, who make me laugh, and they rib me. They're like real friends. It's been a long time since I had those. I want to give a shout out to Craig in the car. True buddy extraordinaire. And it's one thing. I'm going to talk about this a little bit later because there's a lot of people that I could mention, and then there will be a lot of people that I might forget. I will do my best to try not to. I don't want to go through a whole list. It's not that, those of you who are in the shadows don't matter. You all do. Listeners, all of you who appreciate the show. It's not that. I just want to kind of give a shout out to some people who have helped me along the way. And I'll explain the reason why I want to sort of give them that shout out. Because what they do is not self-serving. It is selfless. And I totally identify with it. I will start off by just saying this, and then I'll explain later. When I had my first show back in 2008, two types of people called the show when I got there. People there to correct me, and then those who did not want me to not be informed. In essence, they were there to help, not hinder, not criticize. And the first guy that did that for me, because I'd never experienced that, was a guy by the name of Gene Pinkham, who lived in Boston, now is in Arizona. And he listens to the show from now and again. So Gene is like, I always refer to him as our good friend Gene Pinkham. And when I say our good friend, the guy didn't know me from a hole in the ground. And the only thing he wanted to do, never listened to my show, didn't know anything about me, but he liked the show and he wanted to help. So behind the scenes, he was letting me know details about what was going on in town and made sure that I had the inside scoop. Who was this person? Why they were relevant? This, that, and the third. And he wanted to do it anonymously, and I couldn't let that stand. I had to show him his respect. And I've experienced that here. Maybe it's a New England thing, but I've experienced here at WTIC, and that's the reason why I want to acknowledge those people, and I'll do that in a bit. But I got to get to a subject that I used to get ridiculed about. I used to get yelled at about this issue. And I, in my naivete, didn't understand why my concern for this topic drove people nuts. Because in my view, I was like, that makes no sense. It seemed like people were dragging themselves across hot coals to be compassionate about something that was ridiculous. It was like they forgot where they came from or didn't realize the importance, or, far worse, they were lying. Deep down, I felt like they were not being honest. And then Roland sent me this headline from WFSB. It's not even a WFSB story. The story comes from WAFF all the way down in Alabama. But when I saw the headline, I said, okay, let me investigate. Here's the story that has since gone viral everywhere. And the outrage makes no sense to me.
This mandate requiring all truck drivers to speak English has actually been on the books since the 1930s. Now, the president and CEO of the Alabama Trucking Association tells me that guidelines from the Obama administration loosened enforcement and lowered penalties. Now, this executive order brings back that original mandate, and we're already seeing Alabama state troopers enforcing it.
This is a ticket written by a state trooper in DeKalb County against a truck driver from Texas. This one, the driver was from Florida. What they have in common, the tickets say the drivers couldn't speak English.
The English language proficiency standard has been there for a long time.
These are some of the first tickets issued after the president's executive order reinstated enforcement and penalties in late June. Mark Colson, the president and CEO of the Alabama Trucking Association, says the order reverses an Obama administration memo and now takes the driver off the road.
It's all about safety. It's all about being able to read the rules of the road, being able to communicate with law enforcement and the general public.
Huntsville truck driver Jose Reyes says he wasn't surprised to already see tickets written. This bilingual first-generation American says he's had to translate for drivers who have been in accidents before.
Yeah, I think it would be a shock to a lot of people. Drivers are out here on the road. They're operating, 80,000 pounds, and it's super dangerous. And they can't communicate. They can't read road signs. That's where the safety part of it comes in, is being able to get those drivers off the road because they can't read or write basic English.
Critics of the mandate say this could take drivers off the road in an industry that's already facing a shortage. The Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance recommends all drivers who are pulled over to be able to speak English on a list of topics about their current job, as well as read all road signs.
And they're having to use Google Translate to be able to, talk to people. And you shouldn't have to do that.
You shouldn't have to do that. But people are outraged because they're calling this discrimination. But I'm of the ilk, like many who would be outraged about this, I'm of the ilk that says, walk a mile in another person's shoes. Would you flip out if you were a truck driver in China and you did not speak Mandarin or Cantonese and you were given a ticket because you couldn't understand those road signs? What would happen to you if you got a trucking job in Beijing and you couldn't understand what was on the road and you needed to get somewhere? What would you do? You'd have to pull over at every road sign. Put it up on your screen and read. Imagine that. Could you work? Could you operate? Could you make a living? Of course not. So why? Why is it different here in the United States? Again, I never understood the outrage about this. With people constantly telling me, well, America is not an English-speaking country. Why not? Why isn't it? Over 90% of the people who live here, and that's not a joke, over 90% of the people who live here speak English. Or at least speak some form of it. You're going to sit up here and tell me that that's outrageous to ask that everyone be able to speak it, especially operating a truck or machinery on the road anywhere? Why isn't this standard met for, I don't know, why are we told that we need to learn Ebonics? Why are we told that we need to learn Dutch? Why aren't we told that we need to learn Swahili? No, we all have to understand, come on, you know what it is, Spanish. We all have to learn that. Why aren't we, speaking of which, why aren't we taught to learn Portuguese? There's a lot of so-called Hispanic regions that speak Portuguese. Why aren't we made to learn that? Do you know what's the second most spoke language outside of Spanish in the country? Chinese, Mandarin, or Cantonese. Why aren't we made to learn that? Why don't we have press 2 for Mandarin, press 3 for Cantonese? Since we already have press 1 for English. I'm just saying. Why is everybody always telling us that we have to adhere, our country has to adhere to other people's languages, but it's never demanded of populations that are larger than ours? Come on, we've got 350 million people in this country, and we are told that we have to learn the language of the minority in the country, but you wouldn't say that in India, you wouldn't say that in China. Populations that are what? 3-4 times our size? Never. I don't get it. I am sick and tired of being told that I have to understand Spanish. People walking up to me all the time say, are you a speaker of Spanish? No. Where do you think you are? Seriously, where do you think you are? And where did everybody get this arrogance? And what's with the shame? What is with the shame about being able to speak English? Look, I will admit, one of the things that I used to drive me up the wall is you arrogant pieces of Anyway, people always bragging about how many languages they speak. Really? Name your daily situation where this happens. Huh? At the UN? Is that where you're spending all of your time? Huh? Huh? Are you at some sort of G7 summit every weekend? No. I can speak 5 languages. Really? And how useful is it? Do you have a job that makes sure that you have to speak all those languages? Huh? Or is this just easy for you to be able to communicate with people at the local Quickie Mart in the hood? No, I don't mean to crap on anybody, but please, seriously, from the bottom of my heart, someone explain to me why we cannot be proud to speak English and why we can't demand it of others who live in this country. I need to understand it. It has driven me nuts for the longest. And the people who are arguing this are saying, well, these people are going to lose their job. Really? They're going to lose their job? The rest of us have to learn how to speak Spanish, but asking them to speak English is a road too far? Really? They are here, aren't they? Everything around them is English, isn't it? So what's the big... Why is it that the demands are never on them? Why aren't we asking them what's being asked of all of us? We lose a job in the coal industry. Learn the code. Right? When it's us, we're taught we got to learn everything under the sun. These folks get penalized for putting lives in danger. We need you to learn English. I don't know if I can do all that. Really? Learning English is a problem? Do we have to get everybody a free subscription to Hooked on Phonics? Does everybody have to get, like, Rosetta Stone? Do we have to join, we have to put that in some sort of package, like government package, as a welfare program? Is that what we have to do? Everybody has an opportunity to learn English. My youngest learned how to speak Korean because the kids in his neighborhood spoke Korean. It was Fort Lee, New Jersey, and I'm not going to lie. That place had so many Koreans in it. They had a Korean War Memorial in our town 2 blocks from my house. And I'll never forget the day he walked in and he told me, Dad, would you be upset if I learned Korean? I looked at him and I went, what do you mean? Why would I be upset? He goes, I think I want to learn Korean. I was like, you're surrounded by Koreans. Of course, I understand that. I was like, are you giving up the English language? He was like, no, I just want to learn Korean. Sure. Do you think it'll benefit you? I said, it'll benefit you in a job. Perhaps you get a job working in South Korea. That would be beneficial to you. Sure, it's okay to learn. I understand that. But this nonsense that we can't put the burden on them. Why? Why are they so special? I've never understood this. I had a conversation with a radio host. I'm not going to say any names. But I had a conversation with a radio host, and I saw it. I heard it, and I saw it. The person was white. But being a black person, I saw it. I saw the need to lower the standards because the person we were discussing was a black woman. That this incessant need to point out that it was a black woman was an opportunity to give that person a pass or to give them privilege. And my response to them as a black man looking them directly in the eye, I said, this thing about her being a black woman makes her special how? And he immediately retreated because he got it. He understood it. In that one statement, he understood it. Yeah, I am kind of lowering the standard or rising them to unreachable heights because of something that really has no substance. My response to it was, so what? And it remains, so what? I don't care if they're going to lose their job because they're not learning English. They don't care about their job enough. They're not being paid enough, and they have no interest in providing for their families. If they can't just do the simple thing, like in our country, learn the damn language. I look at you and I say, learn English. If you say that to me in order to do your job that provides for your family and you go, learn English, I go, well, I guess you don't want your kids to eat. No problem. Go work at the local Bogota. Joe Biden revision. Go work there. Go work in an atmosphere where you don't have to learn the language. But here, you can't work because you're putting people who speak English's lives in danger. Can you understand that? Good. I'm done. I'm sick and tired of it, and everybody else who's telling everybody we're supposed to be accommodating. Whatever happened to being a guest in our home? Do you think you'd be able to serve anyone who came to your house who didn't speak the language? By the way, if you can, film yourself doing it. Good luck. We got to take a break. When we come back, obviously, this has sparked conversation. The phone lines are lit up. We'll get to your phones. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back. More news, more views, your phone calls. It's Reese on the Radio on WTIC NewsTalk 1080.
Attention Southern New England HVAC and mechanical contractors. Eagle Rivet is your trusted roofing partner for professional roof penetrations and flashing. We ensure your customers' roofs remain watertight during installations, protecting their warranties. We also offer complimentary roof inspections to identify potential issues before any HVAC work begins. Call Eagle Rivet today at 860-953-1231 or visit us online at eaglerivet.com. That's EAGLERIV.
I knew when I sent that you were going to dive into it.
Support rebuilding together Hartford.
You know me all
My
too well.
brother-in-law died and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $40 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $18 a month, a savings of nearly $300 a year.
Whether you need a $100,000 policy or a $10 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. In a hurry? Don't worry. With SelectQuote, you can get up to $2 million in instant, affordable same-day coverage with no medical exam.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-637-9116. That's 1-800-637-9116. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-637-9116. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
Ryan Jackman here for QC Kinetics. Listen, let me ask you a question. When was the last time you hopped out of bed without any knee or back pain screaming at you, or walked down a flight of stairs without groaning? Well, if it's in the back of your mind, bring it to the front of it and give QC Kinetics a call. It's time to call them and schedule a free consultation with these medical pros at QC Kinetics. There are thousands of patients who will tell you they wish they would have done it sooner. They turn around their lives with QC Kinetics and their regenerative treatments that work with your body to help restore and repair damaged joint tissue. These are natural cellular therapies, no scalpels, no pills, just long-term relief with no dreaded recovery. You bring your x-rays, bring your MRIs to QC Kinetics for that free, no-pressure chat, and they'll give you that evaluation to see if you're a good candidate. Worst case, you learn something. Best case, you get your life back. Grab the phone right now. Give them a call. 860-440-PAIN. And chances are they're close to you, too. They're in Avon. They're in New Haven. They're in Glastonbury. And that phone number, one more time, to get that free consultation with QC Kinetics at 860-440-PAIN.
And now, a WTIC news update.
2:30 Hartford temperature is 80 degrees. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva. WTIC at 1080 News. We'll have the clouds, the smoke, and maybe a little partial sunshine. Forecast details coming up. News conference set for 3:30 Eastern on the situation at Fort Stewart in Georgia. 5 soldiers were shot earlier today at the Army installation. Conditions are unknown at this point. A suspect is in custody and a lockdown has been lifted. Man's in the hospital after he was shot in New Haven. 36-year-old victim from Bridgeport suffered a leg wound early this morning, being treated at Yale New Haven Hospital. An investigation is underway. 2 people were found dead Tuesday in a home in Greenwich. Police were called for a welfare check in the Old Greenwich section of town. No word yet on the cause of death. Senator Richard Blumenthal visiting an ICE detention center in Plymouth, Mass. for a tour and a sit-down meeting with Zia S., Afghan national living legally in East Hartford, who wound up in ICE custody with a stay issued on his removal. Berlin police have arrested a man from Milford on burglary and other charges. They say he allegedly stole a $300,000 tractor trailer, then stripped it of parts and burned it on the side of I-91 in North Haven back in March. 45-year-old Jason Dennis is charged. And President Trump has signed an executive order in place to place an additional 25% tariff on India for its purchases of Russian oil. That brings the combined tariffs imposed by the U.S. on its ally to 50%. Those tariffs would go into effect 21 days after the signing of the order, meaning both India and Russia might have time to negotiate with the administration on the import taxes. WTIC News Time 2:32. Bob Cox with the forecast.
Temperatures this afternoon getting into the low 80s with a combination of clouds, smoke, and a bit of partial filtered sun. Winds becoming east to southeast at about 10 miles per hour. Mostly cloudy tonight, lows in the low to mid 60s. Some early clouds Thursday giving way to sunshine during the day. Highs in the low 80s again tomorrow. 2 points mostly in the upper 50s and low 60s for the next couple of days, so comfortable levels of humidity. Clear to partly cloudy Thursday night, lows in the upper 50s and low 60s. Friday and the weekend look mostly sunny with a warming trend. Highs 82, 85 Friday, mid-80s Saturday, and near 90 Sunday. Early next week looks hot and more humid. I'm meteorologist Bob Cox in the WTIC Weather Center.
Checking traffic, still the vehicle fire being worked on along Route 9, northbound between 13 and 15, with the right lane blocked. In Bridgeport, tractor-trailer crash on Route 8 south between exits 2A and 1D. That has the right lane blocked. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Hi, this is Eric Hogarth, certified financial planner from Money Wisdom. Tune in every week for insights on taxes, investments, income planning, Social Security, and so much more. Tune in to Money Wisdom Saturdays at 8:30 on WTIC NewsTalk 1080.
Hey, Matt Soroyce here, and you've been hearing me talk for a while now about Awaken 180 Weight Loss and the amazing team there. But now they're putting their money where their mouths are. That's because for a limited time, for all new customers at the West Hartford location only, the first 5 pounds you lose will cost you nothing but the smile on your face. That's right, Awaken 180 Weight Loss won't charge you a dime until the scale shows you've lost 5 pounds. Up to 3 weeks free. And don't worry, you won't be starving for those 3 weeks. The one-on-one coaching with the team at Awaken 180 will have you losing pounds quickly while eating delicious, great food. If you're planning an end-of-the-summer trip but would love to cut some unwanted weight before leaving, Awaken 180 Weight Loss is the answer you're looking for. So don't wait a minute more. Kickstart your transformation today and lose your first 5 pounds for free. Give them a call and set up your free consultation today at 844-346-1800, 844-346-1800, or go online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
Don't let pneumococcal pneumonia break your stride. If you're 50 or older, you're at increased risk. So be proactive with Capvaxive pneumococcal 21-valent conjugate vaccine to help protect against invasive pneumococcal disease and pneumonia caused by certain types of pneumococcal bacteria. Capvaxive helps protect against the strains of bacteria that cause about 30% more IPD cases than any other pneumococcal conjugate vaccine in adults over 50, according to national-level CDC stats. Regional variations may exist. Don't get Capvaxive if you're allergic to the vaccine or its ingredients. Tell your doctor if you have a weakened immune system. Common side effects include injection site reactions, feeling tired, headache, muscle aches, and fever. Capvaxive does not protect against all strains. For more information, call 1-800-927-8888 or visit capvaxive.com. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Capvaxive. Need help paying for your Merck vaccine? Visit merckhelps.com. Sponsored by Merck.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea.
I'm going to have to find a new genius, or two half geniuses, and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Pete Sweeney, Director of Operations at United Tool and Die Company in West Hartford.
Pete had a problem. His MSP's long-term contract. It was killing his IT budget. Pete called Tab Computer Systems and fixed that problem with Tab's month-to-month, no long-term contract service plan. Pete saves money, and he gets Tab's quick response time.
When we have an issue, we put a ticket in with Tab, either by phone or online.
Pete has an example of Tab's quick, knowledgeable service.
We had an issue with a server. The ticket was immediately responded to. Tab had a tech out here the same day and identified our problem with the server and worked with their team to provide us with a solution to getting the server back online.
Monthly service plans, reasonable rates, and reliable service make Tab the ASP, actual service provider of MSPs. Call Tab at 1-888-TAB-4-HELP, 1-888-TAB, the numeral 4-HELP, or visit tabinc.com. Technologies advancing business. Tab Computer Systems.
Hi there, this is Jody Rell, former governor. Happy birthday, WTIC.
Oh, Jody Rell. Nice to hear her voice. Anyway, we're back. Reese on the radio. News Talk 1080 WTIC. Let me just read a couple of comments here inside the chat rooms and text messages. You guys are going blazing on this subject. Raymond says, I speak English and gibberish, but more fluent in gibberish. Donald says, I can't believe I'm agreeing with you, Reese. Foreigners should attend English class if you don't speak English. Oh,
hey!
A clock is right twice a day. A broken clock, that is. Kathy says that my son, by the way, welcome back, Kathy. I haven't seen you in a while. My son is stationed in Japan. I've been there 3 times in the last 3 years. I've learned phrases in Japanese so that I can communicate with them. That is the respectful thing to do. Aaron says, how about a compromise? Esperanto. I went to go look that up. I'm not really sure what that means, but I know it's a language. I don't think that's a good compromise. Catherine says she needs coffee, by the way. She goes, you are 1,000,000% correct. Rama says one of the worst things is that you can either pick the delivery. In the age of Google Translate and smartphones, that a person can configure their native language, and there's no incentive to learn English. I think that's what the report from Alabama was suggesting. Bobby B says it would be press 2 for Chinese if they boarded us and were let in illegally. Bobby B, you're 100% right on that one. Now let's get to the phones. 860-522-WTIC. Let's go to somebody new. Paula is in Simsbury. Hi, Paula.
Hey, you had me cracking up. That Portuguese said, that was funny.
Thank you.
Because you know I am Portuguese.
Okay, all right. So you understand that. Now, first of all, by the way, just because you speak Portuguese or you are Portuguese, my stepdaughter's my stepdaughter's from her father's from Brazil, and I used to tease her all the time and say, "Are you speaking pork and cheese with your dad?" And she used to she just loved it. She loved that all the time. So, what say you? When you learn the language in here, are you agreeing with me that we at least have a universal language as English in the country?
110%. Why? My parents had the opportunity to go to school for free as a foreigner to learn English. Even I tried to teach my mom how to speak English when I came home and learn new words because I had to learn. It took me 3 years to even speak English. I do not have an accent. My aunt and uncle, they went to American school to learn to speak English so they can better themselves with a better job, or get a higher education or something like that. I said, but when they start putting the Spanish language as a second language, I'm going, wait a minute. Polish people, I met a Polish lady in my lifetime. She had to learn how to speak English to be in this country. I did too. And this is the language of the United States. It is American. But if you really want to go, let's speak Indian, American Indian. Hello, that's
Right.
the first American language. But
You know what?
Like,
You make a good point. Let me ask you this. You said it took you 3 years when you came to the country to learn English. Now, are you saying that to speak English fluently, it took you 3 years, but you had worked on words and phrases for that long? You were probably halfway along, a year and a half. But I need to ask you this. Did American television or radio or music, any of that play a role in your English learning?
100%.
Okay.
Electric Company was one of my favorites.
It's funny because as you were talking about learning English, because again, sometimes we English speakers or people who lived here all their life and they only know this language kind of take that for granted. As you were talking, you know what I thought about? And the reason why I asked the question, do you remember the movie Splash with Tom Hanks and Daryl Hannah?
Yep.
My favorite part of that movie is when she's in the TV, the TV section of the mall, and Tom Hanks goes, she doesn't speak English, and she turns around and she goes, hello, how are you doing? And the guy goes, I didn't graduate college, but wasn't that it? And she said she learned it from watching television. I thought that was so indicative of what it was like to come into this country for a lot of people, because I heard that story thousands of times after that movie.
Exactly. Yes, that's how I learned how to properly speak. And music was a big influence in me back in the 70s. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Television. Yeah.
But thank you, Paula. I appreciate you calling in, and good to talk to you again.
Nice to talk to you too, Rich. Bye-bye.
You got it. So now that I'm hearing Paula, who speaks Portuguese and took her 3 years to learn and played a part like things like Electric Company, probably, learning their numbers from Sesame Street. I'm thinking about it and I'm going, does that mean that we have to get rid of Telemundo and Univision? Perhaps. Call the White House. If we can get rid of PBS and NPR. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I mean, but you know what? I think about how many channels we have on television and everywhere. Everybody can literally have their needs met with all of these languages all over the place. I'm just saying. Let's go to Jim in Wellington. Hey, Jim.
I'll tell you what, there's absolutely no excuse for anybody who doesn't speak English to not be able to easily learn it. With all of the access and free programming and paid programming
Indeed.
and teaching, there's absolutely none. So the bottom line here is, if you don't speak English and you're in a job that requires quite a bit of knowledge, when I say quite a bit of knowledge, I'm talking about basic road knowledge, basic safety. What happens if you're driving a truck that's full of hazardous materials?
Right.
I lay this on the corporations and the companies just as much as I lay it on anybody else. When you ignore a law that's written and then allow the politics to tell you that you're a racist or it's discriminatory to mandate a written law, you start to concerning English, you start to understand why it is we are where we are today. This is a written law on the books. If you're going to ignore state law and then a federal law and then the Constitution, you get exactly what we get today, where if I don't agree with somebody about, in this case, enforcing the law of English
right.
on a job in the trucking industry, I have to be described as you pick it.
Yeah, you exactly pick the slur for the person who wants to. You're 100% right. Thank you, Jim. Go ahead quickly. Go ahead.
Okay, and when you have the left philosophy that expects the judges to be their law firms and the Supreme Court to be their personal lawyers to not enforce it, this is what we get.
You got it. You're 100% right. Thanks, Jim. Mark sent a great text, and I want you to think about it. For those of you who are on the fence, and I know this is easy picking. This is fish in a barrel as a subject, okay? But there are some people out there who don't think this should be enforced, especially young people and liberal women. I don't know why, but it just is. But I want you to, those of you who listen to this show, who disagree with it all the time. What's her name? I think it was Mia who listens, or Missy. I think her name is Mia. Mia, if you're listening, this one's for you, because you say you disagree with me all the time. Think about this. And Mark brings up a great point. Imagine a world where Joe Biden is reelected and everybody outside of just these CDL drivers, which Craig brought up a great point. It's like there's no way you could be a CDL driver without learning English. But apparently that's happening. But anyway, think about it. Imagine you expand that says we don't need the English language for any job. Speak your native language. And Mark goes, imagine if they allowed this for paramedics, EMTs, cops, and firefighters. Imagine they had made that case. What about overwhelming Asian communities where police officers only spoke Mandarin or Cantonese? Overwhelming Hispanic neighborhoods like Corona, Queens, where my girlfriend used to live. And it's true. I would take the 7 train, same train that went to Shea Stadium, now Citi Field, and every advertisement on the train and on the subway platform was in Spanish. Imagine that you're traveling there to go visit your loved one or somebody that you know. And everybody, police officers, paramedics, they only speak Spanish and you speak English. You'd never go there. You wouldn't. Ever. Because it doesn't make sense to. Your life would be at jeopardy. You would have to be lucky. You have to say to yourself, God, imagine something happened to you. And you were in that town. And you didn't speak the language. Praying while you're bleeding. Or hurting like Zach did where he fell off his dirt bike. Thank God he didn't break his leg. But imagine you're Zach in a town where everyone there doesn't speak English. And you've got to explain to them where it hurts. What happened? What were the events that took place so that they could care for you? Imagine that. It's over. So, no one would ever want this to happen or stand by this ideal. So I think it's time that we get used to the fact that if you live in this country, learn the language. I think it's great that you know Spanish, and you can be with all the rest of those froofy people who pat themselves on the back. I speak 3 languages. Now you speak 2. Come on, Jose. You are like worldly now. You speak English and Spanish. Or Portuguese. I don't know where you're from. I'm just making my point. When we come back, more news, more views. Stand by. We'll get to your phone calls if you're on hold. All right? We got plenty of news and plenty of views. And we got a guest today. That's right. Sean Paul Reyes is joining the show from Long Island Audit. We'll talk to him, of course, about his ongoing spat with Sergeant Brian Fahey. He's going to be here at 4 o'clock. So go nowhere. It's Reese on the Radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
There's nothing like coming home to a nice, cool house, unless it's not. Say, come on into Campbell. Campbell Cooling is all about service 24/7. Campbell's seasoned expert technicians use all major brands, including American Standard and Mitsubishi, to do the job right. So if you're concerned about what condition your conditioner is in, contact Campbell Cooling. Campbell wants to say thank you to all of our military men and women for their service. Veteran owned and managed. Visit CampbellCooling.com.
Campbell Cooling uses all major name brands, including American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and Mitsubishi Heating and Cooling Equipment.
Eat it up, eat it up. The Hartford Yard Goats. Eat it up.
Yard Goats baseball is back Tuesday, August 12th for 6 straight games, and boy, are we loaded with promotions. We've got a kids' jersey giveaway, Italian night, country music night, Princess and Pirates night, fireworks, and kids run the bases. Summer is coming to a close. Don't miss out on the best and most affordable family entertainment in Connecticut. Get your tickets today at yardgoatsbaseball.com.
Eat it up. Oh, yeah.
The law firm of Brown, Payne, Dearest, and Scott understands that divorce can be intimidating, and the decisions you make today will impact your life forever. Divorce is complicated. There's a lot at stake when considering your future. At Brown, Payne, Dearest, and Scott, our team of family attorneys have over 100 years of combined experience and understand every family law case is different. At BPS Lawyers, you get more than a lawyer, you get a full-service law firm. Call us at 860-CALL-BPS or visit bpslawyers.com. Katie Bissonette is responsible for the content of this ad.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products or compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve. Effectiveness or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, hims.com/joy.
Listen to WTIC News Talk 1080 on the free Odyssey app. Download and like WTIC today for alerts on special programming.
Let's get right back to the phones. Chip is in Coventry. How are you, sir?
Hola, que pasa? Buenos tardes. That's the best for my Spanish there, buddy. No, Reese, you're cracking me up because I'm sitting there in my car. I hate to say Newport, but that's it. Well, we won't discuss that.
Right.
But because I'm really trying to quit. So now, this to me, I've always thought to myself, you know, if I wanted to go, hypothetically speaking, and live in another foreign country, we'll just say Russia, which would never happen with me. I darn well, if I want to live there and work there and socialize with the people, don't you think, which I think you'll agree, I better learn the language, or how am I going to get by?
Exactly.
With a sign? Hi. I mean, I don't speak English.
And most people, it's funny because, Chip, most people in those countries, and I'll say France is the biggest offender here. If you go to a French restaurant in Paris and you try to read something off the menu in French and you goof it up, they will look down on you. Like, they are the ones, like, they're the kind of guys who really, they make it clear, like, dirty Americans. They don't care. If you disrespect them, they'll let you know about it.
Well, but I'm not eating French fries no more. That's it. I'm done with the French fries. The heck with them. But I had some last night. But you know what? Spanish, I would love to learn fluently because I live near a town. Can I say the town?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I worked there for 5 years. It's Willimantic, and it's predominantly, in my opinion, and it's predominantly Hispanic, or but there's white people, black.
Sure.
There's all. But I worked with a lot of Spanish people at a big grocery store, and I would say to them, "How do you say that? How do you? Am I saying this right? Like, muy bonita la chica,
right, right,
very pretty lady." But don't ask me to when they're speaking all Spanish. I'm like, what the heck are they? To me, it's interesting. I'm like, because it's like,
but see, that's the thing. Here's the difference, though, Chip. And I'll let you go with this. This is the important thing. What you just described is not afforded your culture. You work in that community and you wish to learn the language. Am I saying this right? Is this how you pronounce it? In your own country, you are accommodating them by learning the way in which they speak. They are not reciprocal in that, which shows us exactly who we are. So we welcome everybody into the country. We will learn things about your culture. We want to know things about your culture. But having no interest in ours is where the disrespect comes in. And I think that's where my outrage is in all of this. I got to let you go, but thank you, Chip. Let me go to Bert, who's calling in from Mass. What's going on, sir?
Hey, how fortuitous of you to brought up this subject. Your own marketing department has very cleverly decided to start broadcasting commercials in Spanish tongue. So what can I look forward to? Mandarin, Chinese?
Well, I want.
Swahili,
That's what I want.
Farsi?
That's what I'm saying here, is that we're not making those accommodations everywhere in the world of equity that we're supposed to be living in, Bert, right? In the world of equity, everything we touch should have about 9 languages associated with it, right?
The official language of the United States is English.
That's right. That is right.
End of story.
That's right. I appreciate it, sir. Thank you for the call.
Take care.
Bert, all the way in Massachusetts. I love it when our tentacles reach everywhere. Kathy says, my grandchildren started preschool in Japan. Wow, ages 3 to 5. They both speak and write in Japanese now. But do they still speak English, though? They got to come home, okay? That's important. They got to come home. Eventually. You know? I'm just saying. They got to come home. By the way, later on in the show, after headlines, I want to read this this text message I just got from Pastor Jacob Dell. And apparently there is there's something interesting that's going on here. Do I have time to read a little bit of what he wrote? Let me go into this real quick. He writes to me, unbelievable, and he sends you the link. He asks the question, why would this tweet prompt Attorney General William Tong to have a Connecticut State Police detective call me to ask to clarify my intent? Again, Jacob Dell tweeting now. Why would this tweet prompt Attorney General William Tong to have a Connecticut State Police detective call me to ask me to clarify my intent? This is an interesting development in Jacob Dell's demand of William Tong investigate what's happening at the Metropolitan Community Church of Hartford. We'll read this letter during the break, and we'll give you any details. Plus, we've got headlines coming up. Sad news over at Sirius. I'll talk about that a little bit. Also, Hollywood news coming up that I'm a little bit interested in because I love disaster films. And don't forget, we got Sean Paul Reyes, who is joining the show at 4 o'clock. We'll talk to him about the events that took place, where we are, where he is, the investigation into his confrontation with Sergeant Brian Fahey at his home that you've all seen. We'll get to the details about that, talk about where he is. We'll talk about what his mind frame was as Fahey approached him with that gun. That's what I'm interested in. And we'll talk about some people who have been critical of Sean Reyes and his tactics. Because some people, I've seen them online, and many people I know who are not big fans of his. So we'll delve into that as well and sort of get his mindset and why he does the things that he does and the fashion in which he does. We'll get to all the bottom of it. All right, so stick around for that. That's coming up in about an hour. Now let's get to our WTIC newsroom with our good friend John Silva with all the headlines, and we'll be back with our own as well. It's Reese on the Radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC is celebrating 100 years on the air and 100 years of serving Connecticut. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
3 o'clock, 79 degrees, cloudy skies, hazy. We'll still see that wildfire smoke, but that should begin to lift as we head through this evening and tomorrow. We'll have the forecast details coming up. Breaking news in Georgia, where 5 soldiers were shot today at Fort Stewart.
The Army had advised people that were there on the base to stay inside, to close and to lock their doors and windows.
CBS's Chanel Call.
We know by 11:35, the active shooter was apprehended by the Criminal Investigative Division of the Army. And then about 40 minutes later, the lockdown was lifted for the main containment area.
But another section remained under lockdown. Former FBI agent Tim Gallagher.
They're going to be on high alert, the Army, on the outer perimeter for quite some time while they work the scene here.
Some of the injured soldiers have been transferred to a hospital in Savannah. Their conditions are not known. WTOC reporter Shay Schrader is there.
We did just get a press release from the Army saying that they weren't going to provide any further information until the investigation is complete.
And authorities haven't released any information on the suspect, but say there is no threat to the community.
CBS's Cammie McCormick, Fort Stewart, houses thousands of soldiers, many of whom are attached to the 3rd Infantry. In Greenwich, police investigating after the discovery of 2 people who were found dead in a home in town on Tuesday. Officers got the call to the residence in the Old Greenwich section of town for a welfare check. They haven't determined the cause of death yet. Medical examiner will make that determination. Police say there is no threat to the public. Family members of Jeffrey Epstein accuser Virginia Giuffre are speaking out after the Justice Department interview with Ghislaine Maxwell. Sources say nothing incriminating about President Trump came up. More from Michael Wallace.
Giuffre died by suicide in April. Her brother, Sky Roberts, tells CBS Mornings he's upset Maxwell was recently transferred to a minimum security prison camp in Texas and has said she would testify before Congress in return for clemency.
Why are we listening to a known perjurer? I think if anybody needs to be heard, it's the survivors.
Giuffre's sister-in-law, Amanda Roberts, says Maxwell needs to stay in prison.
She wasn't a victim like the narrative is trying to change right now. She was an active participant in the abuse.
Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Kremlin's calling a meeting between envoy Steve Witkoff and President Vladimir Putin as constructive. President Trump has threatened new tariffs if Moscow doesn't agree to a ceasefire in its war with Ukraine.
Does today's meeting change that ultimatum from Trump that he wants Russia to agree to a ceasefire by this Friday in the next 48 hours? That is an open question. Is the deal realistic? Let's see what Witkoff says, if anything, after he debriefs the president. That Trump deadline is this Friday.
That's correspondent Ramy Inocencio. Berlin police have made an arrest in connection with a stolen tractor trailer that was found burned on the side of the highway. Under arrest is 45-year-old Jason Dennis. He's from Milford. Back in March, officers say a $300,000 tractor trailer was swiped from Peterbilt trucking lot in that town. It was later found in numerous parts removed, and the vehicle burned on Interstate 91 in North Haven. Investigation led to Dennis through New Haven Truck and Auto Body in East Haven, where a tractor trailer was fitted with numerous stolen parts. Dennis faces a host of charges, including larceny and burglary. Bond was set at $150,000. Ahead of back to school, the state's highlighting CDC numbers that show Connecticut has the highest child measles vaccination rate in the country. In the last year, 98.3% of Connecticut kindergarten students had the 2-dose MMR vaccine, an increase of 0.5% from the year prior. That's welcome news to Dr. Ian Michaelo, Division Head for Infectious Diseases at Connecticut Children's in Hartford.
This is such wonderful news. It's a testament to our leadership in the public health and in the legislature. And it just speaks to the fact that, we have people in the state who are really committed to outstanding health care. And that means that's all about keeping our children safe in the state.
As a key factor in the coverage increase, Dr. Michaelo credits the 2021 state law banning non-medical exemptions from school vaccination requirements. WTIC News Time is 3:05. Checking traffic. Still a couple of issues out here on the roads. We got a crash to report in Waterbury, westbound side of 84. This is between exits 22 and 21. The left, I beg your pardon, the center lane blocked with that tractor-trailer crash. Still working the remains of a vehicle fire down in Haddam on Route 9 North between 13 and 15 with the right lane closed. Let's check the WTIC Weather Center forecast.
Smoke for wildfires in Canada is still creating hazy conditions and reduce air quality across the area through at least tomorrow. An air quality alert is in effect for western Massachusetts until midnight tonight. For the rest of today, mainly cloudy, a little dim sunshine through the haze, a high temperature of 81. Mostly cloudy tonight at parts of the area. A shower, low 63. Tomorrow, intervals of clouds and hazy sunshine, high 83. Turning out clear tomorrow night, a little bit cooler, low 58. Friday looks nice. Sunday to partly cloudy, high once again, 83. It's going to be trending warmer over the weekend. A good deal of sunshine on Saturday, high 87 degrees. Sunday, partly sunny and turning hot, with a high temperature reaching 93. And hot weather is likely to continue as we head into next week. In fact, temperatures will approach record levels Monday afternoon. The current record high on Monday is 98 for 1949. I'm Bob Larson of the WTIC Weather Center.
79 right now in Hartford. On Wall Street, the Dow is ahead 110 points. The Nasdaq's up 246, and the S&P is up 47 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Comcast Business High Five Hotline. What's the state of your excitement?
I signed my business up for the 5-year price lock guarantee, and I can't stop high-fiving people. High five!
Okay, deep breath. You're in a good place. You signed your business up for 5 years of gig speed internet and advanced security, all on our ultra-reliable network.
Gig speeds and advanced security? I'm so stoked.
Yep, and you get it at a great rate that's locked in for 5 years.
Woo!
The high five is just your body's way of saying, I'm winning.
So this is natural.
High-fiving everyone you see in a state of business savings enthusiasm? Totally natural.
Sweet! Thank you! Thank you! High five, everybody! High five!
The Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee is back, but only for a limited time, so sign your business up today.
High five!
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 9/21/25 for new customers with qualifying bundle. Current customers may be eligible depending on services and area. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
Do you have an idea? Fiction, nonfiction, or a children's book?
Thank you.
We can help you put it together and bring it to market at Dorrance Publishing. We have thousands of testimonials from people just like you that we've helped get their books sold in stores and online. We've even got a service called The Writer's Coach. It's perfect for people that have a book idea in their head and they just need someone to help them put it on paper. Torrance Book Publishing has been helping people just like you who have a book idea, written or not, for over 100 years. Imagine being counted among the most famous authors in the world with your very own book. Call right now and let us help you turn a book idea into reality. It's easier than you think. You just need a little help. Call us now.
800-879-4098. 800-879-4098. 800-879-4098. That's 800-879-4098.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
I'm still getting the details from this Jacob Dell thing in a minute. I'll have that for you shortly. Let's get into some news. Headlines. We are keeping an eye on, according to the publication called the U.S. Sun, they're reporting that the Howard Stern show could be ending as early as this fall after 20 years on the network, Sirius XM, as that thing went from Sirius and then XM, and then it becomes Sirius XM and that whole bit, and he left terrestrial radio and that whole bit. But he was there for 20 years. They're saying that there's a likelihood that the new contract will not be renewed because he may be asking for something in the upwards of $500 million. And people who are on satellite radio, those numbers have dwindled. I remember the last time I got an email for Sirius, I think they were selling subscriptions for as little as $4 to $5. I don't even know what it is now. It may be less than that. If you know, you can definitely let me know in the chat room. Also, I want to say this about Howard Stern. That ship has sailed. I can't pile on the guy. I'm not going to do that. I loved his show when I was a kid. What kid didn't? What American boy didn't like it? It was crass. It was disgusting. It was everything. Everything that a boy would love listening to radio. He appealed to the sophomoric humor of children. Okay? That's what we were. So I got nothing against him and nothing against that. But I always say that as soon as he became Hollywood, and I think the thing he wanted to do was become mainstream, once he did, the whole thing turned around, and I think that's where it kind of lost its edge. I always say, go out the way you came in, and it's just different now. Godspeed to the guy, and, that's all I can say. Anything. Moving on. Connecticut turns out to be one of the highest housing wages in the nation. That means that renters in Connecticut need to earn significantly more to comfortably live in a 2-bedroom apartment in comparison to other states. And this, according to the annual Out of Reach report by the National Low Income Housing Coalition. Everybody's got a coalition. They determine how much a household has to earn in order to afford a 2-bedroom apartment. Connecticut residents need to earn over $35 hourly, which would roughly equate to $73,500 annually to afford a 2-bedroom apartment and not to be considered housing cost burdened. The Federal Department of Housing and Urban Development considers a household housing cost burden if they spend more than 30% of their monthly income on housing needs. Now, when I was a kid, maybe somebody else can help me with this, but guys in the neighborhoods, older guys in the neighborhood used to tell me when I was like 16, 17 years old, men told me when I would like talk about getting an apartment and I worked like an hourly job, one of the metrics they used to use, and please tell me, by the way, men out there or anybody, if you were ever told this, that the way that you knew that you can afford an apartment was if you can pay the rent with a week's pay. That's what they considered living comfortably or within your means. I don't know if people do that anymore or even use that metric anymore, but that's something that I use. Roland, are you familiar with that metric at all? Someone telling you that, or did you have a different one?
Well, for what metric?
Like moving into an apartment, I was told by adults when I was growing up, like I would say, I'm going to get my own apartment. And it was like, look, if you're going to live in an apartment, you should be able to pay the rent with a week's salary. That was the metric that they used. So if your rent was
salary.
Yeah, like if your rent was well, this is when I was a kid. So if your rent was $700 a month, you should be making that as a weekly pay. Even if it was before taxes, you should at least be making that as your pay in order for you to get an apartment.
$700 a week.
Yeah, so yeah, you have to at least make $700. They said that was the way that you could live comfortably, because then with that, in other words, pay your rent on that, and the next paychecks you can pay for other things, like a card payment, your insurance, to go out and party, maybe have a good time, to go vacation. That was a reasonable metric that you should use. I don't know if anybody uses that anymore, but I still do. And I use that. That's from back in the 80s.
Yeah, so just think about, so you're using that metric, right?
Yeah, still to this day.
So just think about if, like now, rent is like $2,500.
Yes.
So you mean to tell me, let's do the math.
That's
10 grand a month you have to make.
Yeah.
By that metric.
Yeah.
That's outrageous.
Yeah, I know a lot of people don't. I get it. However, there are some, now $2,500 is an exorbitant amount to pay for rent in Connecticut. I know that in Connecticut they have low-income housing in or around $13,000 to $18,000 a month. I know they do. I've looked.
100.
What's that?
$13,000 a month?
No, 1,300. Sorry, you're right. 1,300. I said 1,000.
Okay,
Sorry, you're right. Yeah, 1,300 a month. 1,300 to 1,800 a month.
Even that's still significant.
Well, if you can afford that in 2 weeks' pay, that's not bad.
In 2 weeks' pay, okay.
Yeah, that's not bad because, well, then you'd have to cut out all the other stuff. One, you clearly can't have a car. You can forget about vacation unless you are really saving money. Like you're going to have to put some money aside, for vacations and emergency. I still agree with the 10% of your pay should go to savings. I still agree with that. But nowadays, like people are just too reckless with their cash. I'm not saying any names, Roseanne. I'm not saying anybody's name, Roseanne. But I think that metric, the week's pay, is reasonable. And if you can't pay your rent with a week's pay, I think that you should get a roommate. And by the way, if it's two people...
that's why people are getting in relationships more because of it's financially beneficial more than they actually like, oh, I love this person. I want to live with this person.
What if your rent is $2,500 a month? You're looking, that number, what does that span out to? Now I'm thinking about it. $750, right? Yeah, $750. Right? No, that's $100. No, that's more than that. I apologize.
Yeah, that'll be $3,000.
Yeah. So if you can afford
like $625.
Yeah. So if the two of you can afford that in a weekly salary, the both of you in a 1-bedroom apartment or even a 2-bedroom apartment, that makes sense. then, I would say get a roommate or get a spouse.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
Well, mine is 18, so I pay $1,800 a month. So
Yeah, exactly. That's reasonable. That's a reasonable amount to do. Anyway, moving on. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Maryland is investigating Democratic Senator Adam Schiff for alleged mortgage fraud. The probe follows a month-old revelation that the Federal Housing Finance Agency had referred Schiff's case to the Department of Justice, accusing him of falsifying bank records and property records to secure more favorable loan terms. This, according to Fox News, so that investigation has pretty much gone underway. And now for the stupidest thing I read today.
Yes, you do. Stupid as can be. This could very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
dumb.
The stupidest thing I read today is this. So it looks like South Park is doing a spoof on Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. And this is turning into a big deal. Why? It's a cartoon that spoofs people. The reason why I'm saying it's stupid is people are actually including this as a news item, as if it's something to brag about. Trey Parker and Matt Stone are mocking Kristi Noem, so this is like some sort of win for people, or this is newsworthy. It isn't. There's nothing newsworthy about it. It's a stupid story. It's stupid coverage. It must be a slow news day if this is an item anywhere other than pointing out it is stupid news. But it is. And I've got to say this to those who are enamored with this story. If this is what you consider a win, some sophomoric goofballs making fun of you on a television show on Comedy Central, if that's a win, perhaps there's a reason why you're polling at 19 and 20%. This is stupid. You guys should know better and try to let's get significant wins. Everything you try is a failure. And I think Tammy Lawrence said it best. Everything Democrats do is a stunt. It's always a stunt. It's of no meaning. You got bozos who are flying across the country complaining about gerrymandering and flying all the way to one of the most gerrymandered states in the country, Illinois, of all places. Speaking of Illinois, we got to talk about a couple of states in a poll today that I found out. I want to thank the Connecticut Sentinel for posting it. We'll talk about that as well. Let's get back to the phones, 860-522-WTIC. Let's go to Mike in Bristol. How are you, sir?
Hey, Reese. I love the program today. Love the topics.
Thank you.
I drive Uber in the greater Hartford area.
Okay.
My girlfriend and I went down to Miami. We took 8 Ubers during our trip in Miami. 7 of the drivers spoke no English at all.
Not a word.
Now, not a word. Now, down in Miami, they had passed legislation just for Miami County that Uber drivers had to be able to speak proficient English.
Wow.
And the police started writing $250 tickets.
Wow.
To drivers, and it went to court and got overturned. So they had to do away with the law. So, yep.
Now, listen, I will tell you this. I think their angle may have been sort of wrong in how they approached this story, because you bring up a very good point in all of this. I want you to think about it from this perspective. It's Miami. It's a party town. And there are Uber drivers who are taking probably inebriated people home. And more than likely than any other group of people who are taking Ubers are whom? Of all the genders, who's taking the most?
Oh, females.
There you go. Now, for safety reasons, because Uber's had a lot of scandals that involved harassment of women inside. Remember that scandal?
Oh, absolutely.
Exactly. So, if you're in a situation where you have an inebriated young lady going to a location, even though on her, she may say, I'm going to this address. What happens if she's too drunk and she gives the wrong address as her destination? What happens if she, you know what I mean? And then she's stuck with this guy that she can't communicate with because, one, she's inebriated, and two, she doesn't speak his language. He clearly doesn't speak hers and tries to help her, and it turns into a complete other situation. It's dangerous.
So, my point, too, is what if you're having a medical emergency in the back seat of the car?
That's right.
And you need the driver to stop or go to the hospital, whatever, and he's not understanding you.
Exactly. You can have alcohol poisoning. She could be sick to her stomach, throwing up in the back of the car. She may need assistance to go to the hospital. The guy doesn't know where to go. Can't communicate with her. What's going on? How are you feeling? What do you need? Do you need water? No communication whatsoever. Look, I'm sorry. I mean, look, I took cabs all my life growing up in New York, right? Cabs were the thing. Whether it's livery drivers or yellow cabs. A lot more yellow cabs when I lived in Manhattan. I don't know anyone who didn't get into a cab in New York and didn't find out intimate details about your cab driver or the other way around. That's the commonplace of driving a cab. Uber's always the same as well.
Right. I do 35 to 40 rides a night. Okay. And I very, very rarely pick up inebriated people in the Hartford area, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of people going back and forth to work, friends' houses, whatever. But like I said, I think they should be able to mandate at least proficient English.
Yeah, what if the Uber driver is female and doesn't speak English? And she's got a drunk guy in the back of the car who's falling asleep when she gets to his destination. And let me give you a quick scenario that I'll never forget. So my ex-wife, Mary, used to do, when we first got separated, to make extra income, she started doing Uber. And she got this one girl twice in separate weekends. But the first time she got the girl, she drove to her apartment, which was at a gated community where there was no staffer at the gate. And the girl was passed out drunk in the back of her car. And she
couldn't give her a code or nothing to get in.
No code to get in, no way to get the woman. How was she supposed? She would literally have to take the young lady's phone and go through her Rolodex to find out somebody that was on there, maybe mom, dad, or anybody, to get her. She said she sat there for 45 minutes rocking this woman to get her up so she could finally get her out of her car. So imagine that situation with somebody who doesn't speak the language.
Right, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that they have a huge, Cuban population there, but that doesn't make a difference. You should, if you're going to work with the public like that, you should be able to speak English.
Yeah, indeed. Thanks, Mike. Much appreciated, sir.
Thanks, Shane.
You got it. Rudy is in Florida. What's up, buddy?
Hey, I got something totally Connecticut related, but Miami's predominantly Hispanic. A lot of Puerto Ricans, a lot of Venezuelans. Every time there's a hurricane, 200,000 Puerto Ricans stay there and don't go back to the island. Your statement earlier, I try to get my living expenses at 25%, meaning my rent payment, my electricity, all that. Not just the rent payment.
Oh, you try to consolidate all of them to only be 25% of your pay?
Right. My dad always said that your mortgage and insurance shouldn't be more than a third.
Okay.
But I try to stay at 25%. So what's the chemical they're spraying on the lakes? Dequat?
Oh, Dequat, yeah.
So I thought about you as I was leaving work today because we have lakes all over here. Mm-hmm. We have this big, huge, it looks like a longboat, but it's like 30 feet long. It's double wide, has a cab and a conveyor belt system on it.
Okay.
They dredge our lakes of vegetation like once a quarter here.
Yeah, that's the eco harvester that we've been trying to get CAES to consider.
My city has those, and they do the lakes like every other month, and it's crazy because guess what our mill rate here is?
So what do you got?
$6.15 a thousand.
Wow.
70% assessed. Guess what? We get trash pickup, recycle pickup, sewer, everything. Like when I lived in Middlefield, which is a great town to move to, but you'd be the second black person there.
Thanks.
We used to have to pay a private company to pick up our trash. Our mill rate was $37. We didn't have a police station. We had a volunteer fire department. We used state troops. So my city is run so much more efficient, and it's almost at 200,000 people. And we have a mill rate that's like 90% lower than most of the state of Connecticut. And we eco-harvest that crap in our lakes. I totally forgot about it, but they were out there today harvesting the lake right near City Hall.
And what's the beauty of it is, Rudy, that you're talking about, as I was expressing with Jeffrey Cordisco, who runs C&D Underwater Maintenance, is, look, those guys are not only looking for work, but there are two things that they could do as far as Connecticut is concerned. One, it's a guaranteed industry. You could get a whole bunch of people to now start purchasing that, and you don't have to poison the water anymore. You don't.
Right.
You can use that budget to get these guys out there to do a clean and efficient removal of the stuff.
Why do you think we do it?
Again, I'm still lost as to why everybody else doesn't.
Florida has a huge aqua filter under the ground that is of fresh water.
Yep.
So, we already have problems, and it happens when so citrus greening happens. Farmers are retiring. They get paid big bucks to sell their citrus ranches to make subdivisions, and the chemicals that have been sprayed on that ground forever. So if you end up getting well water, you're living a little dangerously because of all the chemicals from a citrus grove being there for years.
Good point.
So it's important that we keep our aqua filter clean.
Exactly. Thank you, Rudy. I got to get to a break, but thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad that people we know that are doing it out there and they're not paying attention. Thanks, big guy. Let me take a break. We'll come back. We got more news, more views. I'll read a little bit more about this Jacob Dell thing, and we'll get to, of course, your phone calls as well. So stick around. It's Reese on the Radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
I'm Jenna Fisher. And I'm Angela Kinsey. And together we have the podcast Office Ladies. Just because we finished rewatching The Office does not mean we're going anywhere. Every Wednesday, we'll be sharing even more exclusive stories from The Office and our friendship with brand new guests. Plus, you can revisit all the Office Ladies rewatch episodes every Monday with new bonus tidbits before every episode.
So follow and listen to Office Ladies on the free Odyssey app and wherever you get your podcasts.
Follow WTIC News Talk 1080. Don't miss out on important updates in Connecticut, from breaking need-to-know news, weather alerts, and more. Follow WTIC News Talk 1080 on the Odyssey app now.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Now is the perfect time to start on your next success. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start August 13th. An accredited state university, University of Maryland Global Campus, offers online and hybrid courses. Plus, you can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits towards a master's. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Shell.
And now, a WTIC News Update.
3:30, good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. The search is underway for a child who went into the Housatonic River in Stratford. Police say the child went into the river near the Birdseye boat ramp, which is now closed. The Stratford Professional Firefighters IAFF 998 on its Facebook says the child is between 5 and 6 years of age, was reported in the water around 1:30. The Coast Guard, dive teams, and drones are in the area taking part in that search. 5 soldiers have been shot in what officials are calling an active shooter situation earlier today at Fort Stewart in Georgia. No word on their conditions. They were treated on site before being rushed to a hospital. The suspect is in custody, and a news conference for an update is about to get underway. Bridgeport man in the hospital after he was shot this morning. New Haven police say they were called to Yale New Haven Hospital about the 36-year-old. There's no word on where or when the shooting actually took place. Police say the victim and the companion have been giving conflicting accounts about what actually happened. Police in Greenwich investigating following the discovery of 2 people found dead in a home in town. Officers were called to that residence in the old Greenwich section for a welfare check. There's no word yet on a cause of death. Police say there is no threat to the public. Senator Richard Blumenthal is in Plymouth, Mass. to meet with Zia S., Afghan interpreter legally living in East Hartford, who was detained by ICE last month while addressing an issue regarding his green card. And local health officials say at least 38 Palestinians were killed overnight and during the day in Gaza while seeking aid from a United Nations convoy. WTIC News Time is 3:32. Here's the forecast.
Mostly cloudy and hazy the remainder of today. Smoke from wildfires in Canada can create reduced air quality. High 81. Mostly cloudy tonight with a shower in some areas. Low 63. Intervals of clouds and hazy sunshine tomorrow. Once again, smoke from wildfires in Canada can cause reduced air quality. High 83. Turning out clear tomorrow night. Low 58 for Friday. Sunny to partly cloudy with an afternoon high of 83. I'm meteorologist Bob Larson of the WTIC Weather Center.
All right, it's cloudy and 79 right now in Hartford on Wall Street. Half hour before the close, the Dow up 131 points. NASDAQ's ahead 260. S&P is up 51 points. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Slow? Clogged? Backed up? Don't worry. ALO Home Services has you covered. For only $93, our technician will clear any drain in your home. And if it can't be cleared, it's free. Call for details. Licensed for safety. HIC 628926, P102776688, S104062441, S3308699, SM3004646, E1185643.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Once active and adventurous, Stephanie was sidelined by joint pain. She was losing touch with what gave her real joy.
I want to stay active, and if I don't do something now to feel better, that will keep me out hiking and running and doing all those activities, my health's going to suffer from it. I had the treatment at QC Kinetics.
They're all natural regenerative treatments to use the restorative biologics from Stephanie's body. As the healing properties went to work, Stephanie realized something one day.
I was like, wow, I don't feel any pain. And I have no problem going up and down stairs. I have no problem going down mountains. Snowboarding felt good again.
If you see Stephanie, give her a thumbs up. That is, if you can catch her.
And now I can totally keep up with my friends in their 30s, and I'm 55.
Don't even think about giving up. There's lots of life left to live. Call now for a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 860-440-PAIN. That's 860-440-PAIN. 860-440-PAIN.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com. Auto repair bills are through the roof. $3,000 to replace the transmission. $4,000 for a blown engine. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all out of pocket. You need an Endurance Auto Protection Plan. No matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, drivetrain, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done at the certified mechanic of your choice, and they're paid directly with no middleman. Plans cover 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, lockout services, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Act now and get our elite benefits, including complete tire care and key fob replacement. A $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again, so call now for your free quote. Call 800-253-6203. 800-253-6203. 800-253-6203.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Hey, Matt Soroyce here, and you've been hearing me talk for a while now about Awaken 180. Amazing team there. But now they're putting their money where their mouths are. That's because for a limited time, for all new customers at the West Hartford location only, the first 5 pounds you lose will cost you nothing but the smile on your face. That's right, Awaken 180 Weight Loss won't charge you a dime until the scale shows you've lost 5 pounds. Up to 3 weeks free. And don't worry, you won't be starving for those 3 weeks. The one-on-one coaching with the team at Awaken 180 will have you losing pounds quickly while eating delicious, great food. If you're planning an end-of-the-summer trip but would love to cut some unwanted weight before leaving, Awaken 180 Weight Loss is the answer you're looking for. So don't wait a minute more. Kickstart your transformation today and lose your first 5 pounds for free. Give them a call and set up your free consultation today at 844-346-1800, 844-346-1800, or go online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Fan of WTIC? Then do us a favor. Download the free Odyssey app and favorite WTIC.
We're back. Reese on the radio, WTIC News Talk 1080. So I read over this letter that Reverend Jacob Dell sent to, let me just read it. He sent a letter back to the detective from the Connecticut State Police who came to visit him. Why did they come to visit him? Because in a post by Reverend Jacob Dell, he demanded and asked, but demanded, that the Attorney General look into the allegations made by Elvira Said about the death of her daughter, Irene, and the actions of individuals at the Metropolitan Community Church of Hartford. And in his post on X, Twitter, or whatever, he used the phrase often used by the LGBTQ community that William Tong defends ad nauseum. He gave a press conference last week, demanding that gender-affirming care be given to children. He is clearly an ally. And if he was a true ally and not a joke, he would know the term silence equals death. If he was a true advocate for the people. But because he's a worm, he sought to intimidate Reverend Jacob Dell by sicking the police on him, sending a detective to him via phone call, asking him to clarify his statements, as if to suggest in some way a man like Jacob Dell was making some veiled threat. All while his asking that this young woman have an investigation into her daughter's passing. The compassionate guy, the compassionate reverend, looking out for a person who isn't a member of his flock or his congregation, said that there's behavior happening within the so-called Christian church that is detrimental to children, costing one their lives, allegedly. That there is behavior that is illegal happening inside this church, and asking Attorney General William Tong to do something about it. And what did he choose to do? Instead of responding to the good reverend here, he sends out the police. What's wrong? Tong, what's the problem? You tell everybody, you show everyone, you're screaming and hollering at rallies against Donald Trump like you're the toughest guy in the room. Jacob Dell wears a collar. He's a man of faith. Hell, He might even be a pacifist. I don't know that, Reverend. I'm just kidding. Probably knock my block off. I don't know. He could be a boxer on the side. But nonetheless, he's a man of the cloth. Why didn't you have the testicular fortitude to contact him yourself? You are the chief law enforcement officer of the state of Connecticut. Why couldn't you reach out to the man? You would stand up to Donald Trump, but you run from clergy, homie? You run from the church? You couldn't give this man a call and say, please tell me more about your concerns. Instead, you sick the fuzz on him. This is why people say that you're a worm. This is the reason why people say you have no integrity. I don't understand it. A woman's daughter is dead. She took her own life. I thought you were concerned about these things. I thought you were here as the Attorney General. You had no fear or favor of any side. But it shows us every day that you are a political animal. You're not here for justice. You are nothing more than just like every one of these guys who work in this office. This is about you. This is about your platform. This is about your political future. This is about you catering to progressives. You don't care about anybody on the other side of the aisle. And how dare you talk about, we don't discriminate around here. Liar. You couldn't even go speak to a man of God. You couldn't even pick up the phone and give him a call and say, hey, what's the concern? Speak to him. You send a cop out to him. I like to commend the detective that didn't see any reason to go out there and go meet up with the pastor, have to go knock on his door, to go intimidate him, embarrass him. I'm glad that you picked up the phone and called him. But if I could say something to you, Reverend Dell, let me say this to you. Keep going. You're right over the target. Keep going. I know you want a response from A.G. Tong. You got one. And the response you got said, keep going. Keep fighting. You intimidated him. You got a little bit of that armor. You got through. The reason why he did what he did was because something you did scratched him a little bit. You drew a little bit of blood. No one would have ever come to your doorstep. No one would have ever made a phone call towards you if it didn't affect him in some way. And as far as I'm concerned, that's enough. Keep going. Get anyone and everyone you can. Get that coalition larger. Folks, here is the opportunity for you who respect Reverend Dell and respect his mission. That him sending out that letter says that he's reaching people, even William Tong. Join him now. Republicans, get on it. Do not let that man fight by himself. None of you. Don't let that man fight by himself. What's being done by William Tong, that can be done to anyone and everyone. And if it can be done to him, it'll be done worse to you. There's a reason why the fight is never over, folks. That's why. Because they'll pull anything. They will do anything. You're probably saying to yourself, damn. And if you, look, I don't know about you. I'm going to say it. I tried not to. I have to do it. There's a couple of guys out there who know where I'm coming from. And if you are, see me eye to eye here. You know who I'm talking to. You know that guy. You know that guy who's got to run and call somebody for backup. He talks all the mess in the world, and he does it behind the scenes. He whispers, calling you names, gossiping about you. Always, promoting himself as the toughest guy in the room while he's nudging you behind your back. And then when you confront him, acts like, I ain't did nothing. Or when you'd right on his tail, he starts screaming for the teacher or security. Security! Security! He's intimidating me. That's who this guy is. He was running around screaming and hollering about how tough of a guy he is, especially around his supporters. Well, they're all cheering him on. Go, Tom, go! But when real adversity reaches his doorstep, he's calling a cop, waving him down. Police! Police! I feel intimidated. Coward. And I don't use that term. I don't like using that term. You're a coward. You should have just picked up the phone and gave the man a call. Instead, you're flagging down the feds. Nobody respects that. That shows no respect. You, again, chief law enforcement officer of the state. And what are you doing? You're sicking the police on a reverend. Would you do that to a black reverend? Would you do that down in Bridgeport? Would you do that in the hood? Huh? Would you do that to old Elijah Jenkins? You damn well wouldn't. You know it. I can't. It's embarrassing. It's shameful. I'm not even a fan, and I can't look. It's disgusting. It's despicable. It is. Real men look at that and just go, oh, dude. Word? God, I know who you are. I know who you are. We're all saying it. Just going, dude, really? You're not a man. Security! I can't with this dude. I can't. Just can't do it. Let's go. Bob's in Berlin. Hello, Bob.
Hello, Reese. Thank you for all you do. I would want to talk to Roland.
Okay. You want me to put you on hold and put you on there, or is there something else?
Well, I wanted to talk about a very dry subject, but very important, the private Federal Reserve System. But I need more than a minute to talk about it.
Oh, well, I definitely don't have longer than that, but how about this?
Maybe I can talk to Roland, and he could talk to me, and he could maybe give you some information about it, and it might be worth talking to the public about.
I will do one better than that. Stay on the line. I'm going to make sure that I get your number, and I'll call you personally. How about that?
Well, that's pretty decent of you, Reese.
Of course, my pleasure. I love all of my listeners, and when they need me and they ask me to call, I pick up the phone. And I know I'm probably going to set myself up for a million calls, but you know what? I don't mind. That's exactly how I feel about every one of you, because you take the time out of your day to listen to the show. It means everything to me, and that's how I operate. So I'll put you on hold, and I'll grab your number. In fact, I'll have Roland grab the number. He'll send it to me in a text, and I'll make sure I have it. I'll give you a holler.
Okay, thank you.
You got it. In fact, to be honest with you, Bob, the Federal Reserve is a subject that's really, really great, gaining some ground, and I do want to start having a conversation about that, so I appreciate you. Let's go. Oh, we got to take a break. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, I'll take a couple of more phone calls. I also want to address what I was talking about at the beginning of the show. Some people I want to give some acknowledgments to. I can't get everybody, but there are some people I want to sort of give a shout-out to. I was thinking about it yesterday when Craig was doing something for my wife and I that I really, really appreciate, and I'm going to kind of show all those folks some respect who have joined the show in ways and have been a part of the shows in ways that they couldn't possibly imagine that I need to show some appreciation for. All right, so stick around for that and so much more. Also, 4 o'clock, don't forget, we've got Sean Paul Reyes coming in on the show to talk about his confrontation with Sergeant Fahey, where that story has gone so far, and also about his encounter with Ned Lamont. So all of that and much, much more. Stick around. It's Reese on the Radio on WTIC NewsTalk 1080.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card...
No, I do not.
Highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt.
Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-390-1164. 800-390-1164. 800-390-1164.
Men, summertime is here, and that means vacations, summer barbecues, outdoor parties, camping, beaches, and so much more. This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health, and if you're like many men, you may not be feeling like yourself this summer. Perhaps your energy is low and you aren't sleeping well. Maybe your workouts aren't as good as they used to be. Maybe even your sex drive is off. And if what I'm describing is you, it's very likely you're suffering with low testosterone. But low T doesn't have to affect you anymore. Just call Northeast Men's Health, get treated, and see how it changes your life. If you're like most men, you'll feel so much better. Deeper sleep, improved vitality and clarity, greater strength and energy, and an improved sex drive as well. So call us. Just $99 gets you a PSA and T test and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-930-5956. That's 800-930-5956. Or go to northeastmenshealth.com. We have 6 offices across the Northeast to serve you, including our new office in Warwick, Rhode Island.
If you've been injured, you deserve more than what the insurance company offers you or thinks you're worth. When you get Carter, we'll help you get more. More experience, more attention, and more accessibility. People who hire an attorney get 3 times more on average compared to what big insurance offers them. Their job is to get you to take less. Ours is to get you more. If you've been injured, call the Carter Mario Law Firm at 877-GET-CARTER or head to getcarter.com to get more.
How did you get your tripping breakers fixed so fast?
ALO Home Services, same day electrical. I gave them a call and they had a technician on their way. They even sent the technician's real-time location so I knew when they would be here.
Did you say same day? That's crazy.
If you need same-day electrical, call, click, or text today and say hello, ALO. Call for details. Licensed for safety. HIC 628926, P102776688, S104062441, S3308699, SN3004646, E1185643.
When my business was taking, phone system just wasn't cutting it. We needed fewer missed calls, more flexibility, and better visibility into customer conversations. That's when I found OpenPhone.
OpenPhone is the all-in-one system for small businesses and growing teams. Manage multiple numbers from one device, work seamlessly as a team with shared numbers, and stay organized with AI-powered call transcripts, summaries, and next steps, so nothing gets missed and your team responds faster. OpenPhone integrates with tools you already use, like Slack, HubSpot, and Zapier, so everything's connected and efficient.
Having tried just about every relevant small business phone system, OpenPhone is truly in a league of its own. It's now essential to how we run our business, and I couldn't be happier with the value it brings.
See why over 60,000 businesses trust OpenPhone. Try OpenPhone for free at openphone.com/try and get 20% off your first 6 months. That's openphone.com/try. openphone.com/TRY.
It's Reese on the radio. Ask your doctor if common sense is right for you. On News Talk 1080 WTIC.
We're back. Let me get to these calls real quick. Frankie, what's going on, sir?
A couple of things. Number one, in my experience having conversations talking to Spanish and Chinese people, when I got done, they all told me don't speak English. But why did I get this feeling they knew what I was talking about?
Yeah, isn't that... Well, Frank, one of the things that I've done, and my wife gets on my case about it all the time, is if somebody doesn't speak English, I don't know why I do it, but I do it. I actually start speaking English louder.
I do too, but why, do you get the feeling they know what we're talking about?
Yes, that's the reason why I do it. I'm thinking that they don't understand me because I'm not speaking loud enough. I don't know why.
The second thing, you're going to love this. I don't know about today. Times have changed.
Yeah.
Thank God it's turned out to be true. 60 years ago, we were told there's one thing a black man would never do in life. What is it?
I don't know, become president? I don't know.
No, I thought you were going to say call the cops. No, it didn't matter if they called the cops. We were told a black man 60 years ago would never call the FBI. And thank God it was true. Otherwise, I wouldn't be talking to you. Come on.
Goodbye. Knucklehead. Get out of here. Fulton's in Waterbury. How are you, sir?
What's going on, buddy? I want to talk about the lawfare. So this looks like what went on with Mark, right? I mean, he had like a problem, and they sent the police to silence him. The same thing was going on.
With Paul, yeah.
Guy too.
I'm sorry. You talk about the same thing that's going on with Jacob Dell.
Yeah, with Mark in West Hartford, right?
Yeah.
With the lady, he was calling a radio station.
Exactly.
And they sent him to get pinched. And now, I said, like, I don't agree that the Long Island audit guy went to the guy's house. Don't think he should have got pinched there. Definitely don't think. I think his Fourth and First Amendment was taken away at the first time in front of the plate.
Right.
And like I said, but don't show up at his house. I saw the Ned Lamont thing. It was pretty good. I like what the guy does, but, the one thing, like I said, just don't do it at someone's house.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to talk to him about that because I know that's the criticism that a lot of people have. And I've got some pushback on that I'm not going to reveal until I talk to him about that. But I get where you're coming from.
I want to ask you a question. So
yes.
You're on the radio, right? So what if you and Tim had some big beef, right?
Okay.
And Tim showed up at your house, right? After you had some big beef where he
No, hold on. Now, is Tim just Tim or is Tim a journalist from HamdenAudit.com?
So can anybody be a journalist now with a cell phone? That's my question.
Well, I would say if I could look, I would. You're right. First of all, by the way,
so let me ask you this: He's Long Island Audit. Does he have any press credentials anywhere? I don't know. I'm not sure. Well,
that's a slippery slope. But I will get into that with him. So make sure you tune in the next half hour because I'm going to break all that down. But it's all of those questions are valid, and I'm going to ask him about those. I'm going to talk to him about those because, again, this is going to go against a lot of people who agree with me usually, and I have great relationships with. I don't agree with their criticism of Sean Paul Reyes, and I'm going to explain why. After I talk to him, because what he's doing has to be done, even if his tactics are not. They're not familiar to folks, and I'll break that down with them. So stand by for that. Let's get our first check of weather and traffic. I do know that Jason Catarinas is not back, so I know Bob Larson is still here with weather. But Mark Christopher, he's still here. He's in the BPS Traffic Center. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Reese, good afternoon. Well, if you're heading in 91 northbound, we have an issue northbound between exit 37 and 38 up on the right shoulder. Looks like a tractor trailer and a vehicle got into a little accident there. So that is right shoulder, and you're going to see some slow traffic now as you move from exit 35 up to 37, rubbernecking at that incident. Southbound 91, you've got delays 33 down to 32 A and B. Westbound 84 slows just after 56 Governor Street out to 45 Flatbush Avenue. 84 eastbound slowing about a half mile before 46 Avenue into the tunnel. 2 westbound's a little slow, 1D up to the 84 West merge in East Hartford. Quiet 291 through 84. Okay in Middletown, 9 in the Aragodi Bridge. 84 eastbound Waterbury slowing by 18. Westbound 84, some slow traffic. 26 in Cheshire. Sluggish up to the Mixmaster in Waterbury. Heading into New Haven, southbound on the Parkway, look for slow traffic from 60 into the West Rock Tunnel. 95 South New Haven slowing 46 to 44. Traffic and weather together on the 8th. WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Smoke for wildfires in Canada is still creating hazy conditions and some reduced air quality across the area. Plenty of clouds, limited sun the rest of today. High temperature in the lower 80s. Mostly cloudy tonight and some areas of shower, low 63. Mixture clouds and hazy sunshine tomorrow, high 83. Mostly clear tomorrow night, low 58. Friday, sunny to partly cloudy, high again 83. Sunshine on Saturday becoming warmer, high 87. I'm Bob Larson of the WTIC Weather Center.
There's a lot happening in Washington and in your local neighborhood. Follow WTIC News Talk 1080 on the Odyssey app to keep up with the latest. WTIC is celebrating 100 years on the air and 100 years of serving Connecticut. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. The search is underway for a child who went into the waters of the Housatonic River in Stratford today. Police say the child went into the river near the Birdseye boat ramp. The Stratford Professional Firefighters IAFF 98998 on its Facebook says the child is between 5 and 6 years of age and was reported in the water around 1:30 this afternoon. The U.S. Coast Guard, dive teams, and drones are taking part in that search. The Army provided an update a short time ago on the 5 soldiers who were shot today at Fort Stewart in Georgia. Brigadier General John Lubas.
Our wounded soldiers were initially evacuated to Wynn Army Community Hospital right here on Fort Stewart. All arrived in stable condition, and 3 of the 5 required surgical intervention. 2 have been transported to Memorial Hospital in Savannah, Georgia for additional care.
And authorities have identified the accused gunman as Sergeant Cornelius Radford. He is in custody, and officials say there is no ongoing threat. An Afghan interpreter seized by ICE agents in East Hartford is hopeful for his release. Senator Richard Blumenthal visited the man named Zia in detention in Plymouth, Mass. today. Zia is in the U.S. legally, but was arrested after an appointment to arrange for his green card. This was in mid-July. He's been held without charges ever since.
He has done nothing criminal. He has committed no offense against anyone. In fact, he's done nothing wrong. He's done everything right. He served this country for 4 years in Afghanistan with a target on his back.
He believes he'll be killed by the Taliban if he returns to Afghanistan. He was living in the New Haven area with his wife and 5 children when seized. Blumenthal says a hearing before an immigration judge is set for next month. More mosquitoes testing positive for West Nile virus in our state. The East Shore District Health Department says mosquitoes trapped July 30th in North Branford have tested positive for the virus. The mosquitoes were trapped in the Cedar Lake area of town. To date, there have been no human cases of West Nile reported. Health officials say activity is beginning to ramp up due in large part to the warm, humid weather we've had around here and also the rainfall. Experts say this particular breed of mosquitoes are found in places like old tires, stagnant groundwater pools, and catch basins. Residents are urged to cover up and use repellent when going out at dawn and dusk when mosquitoes are most active. Among Democrats seeking their party's nomination for a 1st District Congress, the seat in Congress is from Southington. Town Councilman Jack Perry says he feels incumbent Congressman John Larson has let his district down.
You got people climbing political ladders, to benefit themselves. I want to be a voice for the working class, middle class folks that are struggling right now, trying to make ends meet. You don't hear anything from those that are elected until it's campaign season, to try to get votes, and then they fail us.
And Major League Baseball is calling up its first female umpire from the minors. Michael Toscano has more on Jen Powell.
It's in my DNA. That's what the 48-year-old Powell, who comes from New Jersey, says about baseball. She'll be on the field at Truist Park for the Miami Marlins and Atlanta Braves doubleheader this weekend, working the bases Saturday and behind home plate on Sunday. In 2024, Powell became the first woman to umpire big league spring training games since 2007, continuing this year. She had this message.
This is a viable career, becoming a professional umpire for men and women, girls and boys.
Michael Toscano, CBS News.
Wall Street, the Dow up 81, NASDAQ up 252 points, and the S&P is up 45 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Paul's new drone lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius, or 2 half geniuses, and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to goodrx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Oh, baby. Roland, we got him on, right? That's him?
Yes, sir.
All right, good enough. All right, we'll get to that in a second, but we got to do this every day, 4 o'clock.
Savory, flavory, bagel, deli, and bakery. Between rounds, between rounds, between rounds.
And congratulations today to Brian B. of Bristol, Connecticut. He is our recipient of a dozen bagels a month for 6 months, courtesy of Between Rounds, the Bagel Bakery and Sandwich Cafe, located in South Windsor, Vernon, and in Manchester. If you'd like an opportunity to win, you got to go to reeseontheradio.com. That's REESE on the radio.com in order to apply. Make sure you put in your date of birth and your telephone number. People forget that for some reason. And all the information that's asked of you there. You must live in the state of Connecticut, and you cannot have won within the last 6 months of this day in order to apply. All right, so congratulations to Brian. We got Sean Paul. He's on hold. We're going to get to him as soon as we get back from weather and traffic. We got so much stuff to get into. We're going to ask all the questions. And I really did. I took a gauge of what some of the criticisms were of what Sean Paul and the exchange between him and Sergeant Fahey. And let me say this before, because I know he's listening, but I want to say this beforehand. A lot of the people who had criticisms are people I respect, and I respect their opinions. And liberals who listen to the show, just so you know, that's the beauty about being me, is that I get to disagree with people who agree with me politically. And I can do it with such a flair. It's amazing. A lot of people didn't like Sean Paul's tactics or him showing up at Brian Fahey's home. I disagree with that. What his objective was to point out corruption. I am going to say this, and I've seen it everywhere. And you guys who have watched things like Bill O'Reilly, Jesse Waters was famous for doing things like this. James O'Keefe made a name of himself of doing exactly this. So this thing that you decry, so to speak, that Sean Paul did, a lot of people who have gotten information to stories that all of you have benefited from and learned about corruption in our country have been done with the same tactics. That's why I disagree with you on this one. So we'll talk to him when we get back. Sean Paul Reyes of Long Island Audit will be on the show in a second. Let's get weather and traffic with John Larson, who's in for Jason Caterina, and Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, bud.
Hey, thank you very much, Reese. If you're heading into Hartford,
Bob Larson.
91.
What did I say, John Larson?
Yeah.
Southbound side of 91 moving well. Cromwell up through downtown, up into Windsor. We do have an accident on the right shoulder between 37 and 38 involving a tractor trailer and a vehicle. Not really causing a delay, but use caution. Westbound 84 is tied up approaching the Oakley Bridge out to 47 Sigourney. 84 eastbound slows 46 into the downtown tunnel. 291 through 84 okay. 9 northbound slowing Harbor Park to the Aragoni Bridge. 84 eastbound tight by exit 18 in Waterbury. Westbound 84 slows 25A in Waterbury up to the Mixmaster. If you're heading westbound 84, got some slow traffic as you move from exit 10 up to exit 9 in Newtown. Eastbound 84 slowing from 10 up to 11 in Newtown. If you're heading down toward New Haven, southbound Parkway delays 60 into the West Rock. 95 south slowing 46 to 44 in New Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Mostly cloudy the rest of this afternoon. Again, somewhat hazy. A high temperature of 81. Mostly cloudy tonight. There could be a brief shower at some areas. Low 63. Then a mixture of clouds and hazy sunshine tomorrow. High 83. And Friday looks nice. Sunshine, just patchy clouds. A high of 83. Warmer weather returning over the weekend. Mostly sunny. On Saturday, high 87. Probably above 90. On Sunday, right now it is 80 in Berlin. It's 79 in Newington and 78 degrees in Hartford. This is meteorologist Bob Larson of the WTIC Weather Center.
Looking to retire with confidence? Get the answers you need. Tune in to Wall Street Sweeper with Russ Hackman. Sunday mornings at 9:30 on NewsTalk WTIC AM. Strategies, insights, and smart retirement talk. Don't miss it.
There's more to Connecticut with CT Insider, a hometown behind every headline. With every issue, investigation, or interview, there's more when you're following from the inside. Visit ctinsider.com for more.
Tune in to WTIC News Talk 1080 for Healthy Rounds, Saturday mornings 11 till noon. Learn from the top experts about the latest medical news and call in with your questions. Healthy Rounds, sponsored by Hartford Healthcare, Saturday mornings 11 till noon on WTIC News Talk 1080 and WTIC.com.
How did you get your tripping breakers fixed so fast?
Ayala Home Services, same day electrical. I gave them a call and they had a technician on their way. They even sent the technician's real-time location so I knew when they would be here.
Did you say same day? That's crazy.
If you need same-day electrical, call, click, or text today and say hello, ALO, call for details. Licensed for safety. HIC 628926, P102776688, S104062441, S3308699, SM3004646, E1185643.
If something happens to you, what happens? Will
Yes,
they
sir.
struggle financially? Will they be able to afford the home you built together? With Ethos, you can get life insurance coverage in minutes. Get up to $2 million in coverage for as little as $2 a day. All online with no medical exam. Just answer a few health questions. Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life. Rates may vary. Billed monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-311-9595. That's 800-311-9595.
President of the Chris Murphy Fan Club, Reese on the Radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Hey, and we are glad to be here as we always are, and we're always proud to have guests. I got to tell you, folks, I'm saying this because I don't have a PR guy. I don't have a sort of a line producer who gets my guests. I do this all on my own. And when you guys are talking about something, the first thing I do is like, okay, you know what? Everybody's talking about this. Let me go see if I can get this person on the program. So I did it this time. He was supposed to be on yesterday, but he forgot all about it because he got so busy. But he is here today as promised. We got Sean Paul Reyes on the line. Thank you, sir, for joining the show.
Hey, Reese, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Now, listen, we got to play it. It's the spat heard round New England. Here's how it went.
Get that gun out of
Goddamn Connecticut State Trooper.
I don't care who you are.
Right now.
You spit in my
Get off
face.
my property
You're
right
going
now.
to jail now.
So that is not the end or even the beginning of what took place. So I know we're going to get into some background, but I got to ask you this question. It's the one question that has been bothering me for the longest because of that moment and how it went down. When you see former state trooper Brian Fahey approaching you with a gun in his hand as you are backing up, how concerned were you for your own safety, if not your life?
So, I was more than backing up. I turned my back to his residence. I was walking clearly away. When I heard him come out of his house, I turned around and I saw that he had a firearm in his hand.
Yeah.
And as he's rapidly approaching me, my first instinct was, because I normally work alone, I hired a cameraman, a 20-year-old kid, no criminal record, just a good kid in college, and hired him to be my cameraman for the day. I was worried about his safety.
Really?
Secondly, I was worried that was where my focus was on. So I wanted to keep Brian, former state trooper, I wanted to keep his focus on me. I told him I raised my hands. I don't have any weapons. I'm a journalist. I tried to make it as obvious as possible. I meant him or anybody in his household, no problem. And honestly, I was scared. I didn't know what he was planning on doing. It really, adrenaline took a hold of me. I was more frightened after the fact once I realized why he spat in my face, why he was lying to the 911 operator saying that I threatened to kill him.
Let's get ahead.
Let's
not get ahead of ourselves. Let's not get ahead of
Okay.
ourselves. Sean Paul Reyes is on the line with us, talking about his incident with Sergeant Fay. He now retired. You brought up the spat. You said you knew why he spat in your face. Can I tell you what I thought when I watched it? I played the entire video on my podcast version of the show. We have a visual version of the show as well as on radio. So I was playing your video simultaneously to it broadcasting the audio. And I said that the reason why, my belief, is that Sergeant Fahey spat in your face to initiate a reaction from you, a physical reaction to you, so he would have reason to use his firearm. Is that what you were thinking?
Yeah, after the fact. In the moment, I didn't really catch on. I thought he was just being a vile, despicable human being by spitting in my face and mouth. But that's exactly right. It hit me after it was all over, and adrenaline was wearing off. I was like, oh, he spit on me, so I can do something and react as anybody typically would in that scenario. So that way he can use his firearm on me and take my life. Yeah.
Yeah. Even I guess that consumes you after the fact, because then you're playing it over in your head and you start questioning yourself. Did I go too far? Was it reasonable for me to even be there? This could have, possibly I could have lost my life. If not, rendered or taken the life of the cameraman that you felt you put in harm's way in that incident. I'm not saying that you did, but I'm saying in your head, you're kind of going through all of that and rethinking everything with a degree of caution, so to speak.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But, at the end of the day, I knew what I did was not only completely legal and constitutionally protected, it is something that has been done by journalists since journalism existed, right? Since people asking questions of government officials, knocking on their doors. I'm working on a compilation where I show a bunch of mainstream reporters doing the same thing.
Right.
And none of it has ever resulted in this. I like to put the accountability and the blame where it belongs. Mm-hmm. And that's with former Sergeant Fahey. He didn't control his emotions. I told the officers there, I'm not, when the Groton Police Department arrived, he's all right. He's allowed to be upset. I don't blame him for being upset.
Right.
But he can't break the law.
And I think that there's a strong belief by you and many of the people who follow you, or even those who are just watching it, feel like he got off with just being able to retire. Do you feel slighted by that, or do you think that something else should be done, or do you believe something else will be done?
So the way I look at it is, I was violated not only as a man by being spat in the face, having a gun pulled on me, my constitutional rights are violated, and then subsequently violated again when I, the victim, is being put in handcuffs. My poor cameraman being put in handcuffs, charged with felony voyeurism. That felt like another violation.
Sure.
Another violation is raising my bond from $10,000 to $75,000 because of calls from up high. I don't know who those calls were. I'm looking into it. But
sure.
They raised my bond. Him not being charged, another violation. Just from the spit on, just a violation after violation. And even his retirement feels like a violation. A lot of my supporters and viewers were celebrating his retirement.
Right.
I am not celebrating it. That is another violation because he gets to skate away with his six-figure pension, his golden parachute by the taxpayers of Connecticut for engaging in criminal activity. You can think what you want of me. If you're listening to this, you can think whatever you want of me. If that's how if you condone a law enforcement officer, a public servant, to behave in that kind of manner under any circumstances, then, pay his money, pay his pension for the rest of his life and let him get away with it. But when it happens to you or your family or your friends, don't be shocked.
Let's get into that part because, you made that statement by saying if those people who do not agree with you, and for those of you just joining us, we're on the phone with Sean Paul Reyes of Long Island Audit. You know the video. We've talked about it. It's been everywhere. People said that you approaching his home at that time, you violated some sort of his constitutional rights by approaching his home. And people are talking about your credibility as a journalist. What constitutes a journalist? Now, I have the answer to this, but I don't want to always seem like I'm on the side. Like, I don't want everybody to think, oh, you just like him, Reese. You're on his side. I don't want to answer because I do have an answer for it. But I want you to give an answer to the audience that thinks that you went beyond the pale when you arrived at his home to ask him questions. First, I want you to tell me about that. But second, I want you to tell us why you were there at all.
So this is our first conversation we ever had about this. You know, I don't know you, you don't know me.
Right.
But to answer your question is there's you just because you objectively think about something or even subjectively think something doesn't mean that, you know, we're an alliance or anything like that. It's just the facts are the facts. It's on video.
Correct.
And you can draw your own conclusions from that. Again, I was there to ask about overtime. The individual, the former sergeant, was getting paid an average of $85,000 a year in overtime for the last 5 years as a desk sergeant who hands out pistol permits. So I thought it was interesting. I got a tip from a source, and I thought it was interesting and suspicious that somebody who works at a desk at 9 to 5. And ironically enough, when I went to his residence, it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a work day, and he was home. But I went there to ask questions as any good journalist would. You know, you might not like, if you're out there listening, you might not like that I am a journalist, but you cannot take away the fact that I am. It's just a fact. I mean, there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You don't need a journalism degree to be a journalist. Just look up the definition of what a journalist is. You know, we have AI now that's objective. Type it into AI, and they're going to tell you the truth. They have no bias.
Right.
You know, just check it out. The AI is not backing Sean Paul Reyes. They have nothing. Look into it. That's just you might not like my form of journalism, how I engage in journalism. Those are all criticisms that you can have.
Right.
But you cannot take away the fact that I am a journalist. You just can't.
I'd like to let me piggyback off you on this thing, because there's an important notion or note that you just made. You get to be a journalist, in my view, because what you covered is the things that my audience often complains about, is that you covered a topic that usually the mainstream news media or the media that they consider legitimate won't even touch. It's one of their biggest criticisms and complaints, is that why is no one talking about this? And then you grab your camera or grab a cameraman and you go in there to get answers for the people of Groton who are paying this guy's exorbitant overtime to get to the bottom of it, doing the job that journalism won't do. And now all of a sudden, because you got into a back and forth with the guy, you're no longer a journalist, or they question the levels of journalism you wish or you're supposed to be a part of. Which again, that's the reason why I kind of side with you on this, is that as more people are shouting you down, I'm the type of guy that says we need more people like you. It's the reason why we have Mark in West Hartford that's on this show constantly, because he's doing the work that mainstream media won't do.
Right. And it's not just because they don't want to do it. The difference between me and a mainstream journalist is that I speak and I investigate things that I want to investigate. Most mainstream journalists are just talking mouthpieces. They do a 3-minute segment on something and they write about something that they're told to write about. They're edited, that their editor edits their story to what fits the narrative, what they want to talk about. So-called journalists, you know, they say those kinds of things in these reports. Again, if they're supposed to be objectively, I am a journalist. But when they put out terms as self-proclaimed, so-called journalists, they're trying to paint a narrative that this guy is not one of us. He's not, and I don't want to be one of them. I'll engage in my own journalism. Nobody tells me what to write. Nobody tells me what to cover. Nobody tells me what to talk about. I talk about what I want to talk about. I investigate things, and that's how I engage in my journalism. I'm an independent journalist, and I investigate matters of corruption. And not only that, Reese, it's not that I'm anti-law enforcement. This is what people can't.
Yeah, I was going to get to that too. I was going to get to that too. Thank you.
I call them bootlickers, but I can't get my head around the fact that I'm not anti-law enforcement. I am a big proponent of law and order and accountability for your actions. I'm sorry. I believe that law enforcement officers, people that we entrust with authority to enforce the law, should be held to a high standard. And this is not all law enforcement agencies. I've spoken at many law enforcement agencies and given seminars and trainings and worked with them and been at command staff meetings, and it's all on my YouTube channel. have been in ride-alongs, have done district attorney's office trainings. These agencies have invited me over to do these things because they know that I'm not anti-law enforcement. I want law enforcement to be held to a high standard. I want people to be held accountable, especially law enforcement officers. And as we see, unfortunately, they're just not.
Sean Paul, do me a favor. Can you do you have anything else scheduled? Because there's so much. What you just said, I need to get sort of a deeper look, and I need this audience. For me, this audience needs to know you a little more. Can we hold you over at least for a little bit? I'd like to ask you about some of the investigations you've done in the past. Because you're a big deal in a lot of places. I've got friends who haven't talked to me in weeks. They're friends, but they haven't talked to me in years even. When they heard you were coming on the show, I started getting messages from them. Reese, how can I hear the show? They don't even listen to my show regularly, but when they heard you were coming on, they immediately started contacting me. You're a big deal. A lot of the work that you do, I think, is important. I've known about you for a long time, but this is our first sort of interaction. Can I keep you on for a little bit more? Talk about what led you to Brian Fahey, not so much about your source, but what led you, because what you did was a bit over the top, even for me, but no, don't get me wrong. It's not a criticism. I loved it. I want to talk a little bit about the billboard and your other interactions that sort of led us to where we are. Can you do that?
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Folks, on the phone with us is Sean Paul Reyes from LongIslandAudit.com. You got to go there. He's even got merch. But as I tell you guys all the time, you don't really have to like the journalism, but if you actually check him out and go to his website and actually figure out or watch some of the investigations that he's been a part of, what he's doing is a service. It may not be your cup of tea, but to be honest with you, and I've told you this, you guys have been with me for 3 years now, you know that we need to get rid of the status quo when it comes to getting rid of corruption and getting people to be accountable. So that's why Sean Paul is here, and that's why he's doing what he's doing. So, Sean Paul, I appreciate that. Your website, is it just go to LongIslandAudit.com, right?
Nope, YouTube, Facebook.
Oh, okay.
LongIslandAudit.com has some documents on it, but all the video and the content is on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all the typical social media is mostly on YouTube, though.
Okay, yeah, mostly on YouTube, and there's a lot of stuff. I'm pretty sure that if you go down that road, you will start digging even deeper. Sean Paul Reyes is here. We'll talk to him a little bit more about what led to the confrontation, why he had the billboard, the truck up there, and the expenses to do those things. I want to ask all of that when we get back. Let's get some news, weather, and traffic. We got Mark Christopher. He's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Reese, thank you very much. Well, if you're southbound 91, look for delays. Hartford 33 down to 32 A&B, and again 28 down to 26 Hartford Weathersfield line. Looks good 91 northbound, Cromwell up into Windsor Locks. If you're westbound 84, delays East Hartford approaching the Bulkley out to 47 Sigourney. 84 eastbound locked up 46 Sisson Avenue to the Bulkley. A little slow again as you push out by the 384 off-ramp on the East Hartford Manchester line. 2 westbound slows, 1D up to the 84 west merge. 9 northbound slowing Harbor Park up to the Aragoni Bridge again by exit 32 in Berlin. 84 eastbound Waterbury tight 17 to 18. Westbound 84 slows 25A up to 25 again at the Mixmaster. If you're heading southbound into New Haven on the Parkway, you've got delays 61 down into the West Rock Tunnel. Northbound Parkway slowing 59 into the tunnel. South 95 New Haven tight 46 down to 44. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Mostly cloudy and hazy the remainder of today. Smoke from wildfires in Canada can create reduced air quality. High 81. Mostly cloudy tonight with a shower in some areas. Low 63. Intervals of clouds and hazy sunshine tomorrow. Once again, smoke from wildfires in Canada can cause reduced air quality. High 83. Turning out clear tomorrow night. Low 58 for Friday. Sunny to partly cloudy with an afternoon high of 83. I'm meteorologist Bob Larson of the WTIC Weather Center.
Keep WTIC News Talk 1080 with you all summer long for the information you need. Weather forecasts from Bob Cox help you plan your summertime activities. Taking a trip? Mark Christopher's traffic reports will get you there without the hassle. Plus, up-to-the-minute news reports twice an hour. No matter where you go, listen on the Odyssey app and stay informed with what's going on back in CT. Because when you're on vacation, we're not. WTIC News Talk 1080. And now, a WTIC news update.
4:30. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. The search continues for a child who went into the Housatonic River in Stratford this afternoon. Officials say the child between the ages of 5 and 6 went into the water near the Birdseye boat launch. Local police and fire, along with the Coast Guard, are involved in that search. An Army sergeant has been accused of shooting 5 soldiers at Fort Stewart in Georgia. Officials say that other troops tackled 28-year-old Sergeant Cornelius Radford after he opened fire. The shooting prompted a brief lockdown at one of the country's largest Army bases. Officials say Radford used a personal handgun, not a military firearm. They also say Radford opened fire where he worked. Army spokesman says officials would not speculate about any motive at this point. Man's in the hospital after he was shot in New Haven. Happened early this morning. 36-year-old victim from Bridgeport suffered a leg wound, and an investigation is underway. 2 people were found dead Tuesday in a home in Greenwich. Officers there were called for a welfare check. No word yet on the cause of death of the 2. Senator Richard Blumenthal at an ICE detention center in Plymouth, Massachusetts today for a tour and a sit-down meeting with Zia X, Afghan national living legally in East Haven, who has ended up in ICE custody with a stay issued on his removal. And Berlin police have arrested a 45-year-old Milford man on burglary and other charges after he allegedly stole a $300,000 tractor trailer from the Peterbilt trucking lot, then stripped it of parts and burned it on the side of Interstate 91 in North Haven. This happened back in March. Jason Dennis is charged. The parts were later found on a refurbished truck at New Haven Truck and Auto Body. Wall Street, the markets finished the day in positive territory. The Dow gained 81, NASDAQ up 252 points, and the S&P ahead 45. Baseball tonight on the radio, 6:10 pregame, Red Sox and Kansas City. Yanks are currently trying to snap their 5-game losing streak in Texas, and the Mets fell to the Guardians this afternoon 4-1. Eastern League, the Yard Goats are in Altoona, 6 o'clock on the Odyssey app. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Erectile dysfunction affects nearly 50% of men over age 50. But even with so many men affected, finding a trusted provider to treat the condition isn't so simple. This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice, and I'm excited to announce the opening of our newest location of Northeast Men's Health in Warwick, Rhode Island. As a Promenic affiliate, Northeast Men's Health can offer men with ED the latest treatment protocols, which are shown in medical studies to be effective in well over 90% of men. And unlike groups that only offer wave therapy or online pharmacies that just sell pills, we offer a variety of treatments to help get you the results you want. You should also know that Northeast Men's Health is a true medical practice, which means our providers have access to a complete range of treatment options to get you back on track. So call Northeast Men's Health today. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes a medical consult, blood work, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-930-5956. That's 800-930-5956. Or go to northeastmenshealth.com.
This is a special Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000
Thank
miles
you.
with an auto warranty about to expire or with
That's
no warranty
800-930.
coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-220-6409 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-220-6409. That's 800-220-6409. What do you have to lose? Call 800-220-6409. Again, 800-220-6409.
Stay locked in. Reese on the Radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, we're back. It's Reese on the Radio. We got to do weather and traffic in a little bit. We've got Sean Paul Reyes on the phone. We're going to talk to him a little bit more about what led to the incident, of course, that you all saw. Everyone was talking about, everyone in the news media, from our WTIC newsroom, the Hartford Current, everyone had their eye on this story. If you don't remember it, here's the exact incident, or at least part of it.
Get that gun out of goddamn Connecticut State Trooper. I don't care who you are. Right now. You spit in my face. My property You're going to jail now.
Well, of course, that did not happen. And, we're going to talk to him about everything that led up. If you watch the video, it's long, it's extensive, but there are no cuts. There's no edits. And, I watched it, and I watched every frame of it. And I said, as I walked through all of it, the moment Sean Paul Reyes is told to get off my property, he descends. He moves. He starts backing up and removes, still asks questions. Officer Fahey, Sergeant Fahey goes into the home. Everyone thinks that it's over. Everybody's on their way. Nobody sticks around. In fact, you hear him when he says it, when Sean Paul says, let's go check and see if there are no trespassing signs, because that's what Brian Fahey says. And there's no trespassing sign up there. We didn't see one, he says, but we'll go back and check it. And that's what he did. And I get that there are people who are, coming up with this excuse and that excuse. Somebody just sent me a message, Sean Paul, and we'll get your response to it in a second. They said, well, if he cared about corruption, why didn't he go into this story and that story? That's not, when have you ever demanded that of your regular news network? Like, you ever listen to a story and say, well, if they covered that, why didn't they cover this? You never make that demand. No one ever does. Unfortunately, most people just sit around watching the news and just accept what's given to them. This was the focus of his investigation, and we'll get to that. There isn't a why didn't he do this and that. I'll go one step further. Why didn't you? That's all. Again, and this kind of crapping on the work that other people aren't willing to do. As I say to Mark in West Hartford all the time, in fact, I just texted this to him. I said, I will never ask of you what I will never do for myself. You don't work for me. Right? He is not out there doing the job that I am not willing to do myself. If I ask him to look up something, I'm looking it up too. I don't have minions. And Sean Paul went out there and looked up a story that was important to him, that he got a tip on, and went and investigated it. Disliking the fashion in which he did it, fine. Criticism is worth anything. But asking him why he didn't do this, that, and the third, that's your job now. Remember what I said about complaining. No complaining about a situation unless you're prepared to do something to make it better. Arnold Schwarzenegger. And that's what the guy's doing. You guys have to learn to embrace guys like him. Even Mark in West Hartford said, I don't always agree with him, but I always love the time and the passion that he puts into his investigations. That's respect. That's mutual respect. Let's get to the Traffic Center, BPS Traffic Center with Mark Christopher. Hey, Mark.
Is Mark the only investigative journalist left in the state of Connecticut?
There are a few, but Mark is out there. Mark covered a story on the scooters that are littering the city of Hartford that no longer have contracts with the city. Did you know that? Those little electric scooters that you can buy with your credit card?
Yeah, would that last, like 2 years?
Yeah, those
maybe
Avelo scooters, they're everywhere, and no
right.
one is even picking them up and getting rid of them.
Not surprising.
Yeah.
Mark's got some stones, though. You got to give him that.
Indeed.
He does good work. Hey, if you're heading into Hartford right now, the southbound side of 91 looking good from 33 down to 32. Actually, it's slowing, approaching 33 down to 32. Getting down by exit 28. Northbound 91 moving well. Cromwell up into Windsor. If you're westbound 84, tight up, approaching the Bulkley Bridge in East Hartford up to 45. Flatbush 84 eastbound slows 46 Sisson Avenue into the tunnel. Slowing again out by 59 into 384 interchange. 291 eastbound tight coming off of I-91 over to the Bissell. If you're 2 eastbound moving well, Glastonbury into Marlboro. Heading into Middletown 9 northbound delays Harbor Park up to the Aragoni Bridge. 91 south in Meriden slowing 19 to 17. 84 eastbound Waterbury tight by 18. Westbound 84 sluggish 25A up to the Mixmaster in Waterbury. Southbound side of the Parkway delays approaching 61 down into the West Rock Tunnel. 95 south New Haven tight 46 down to 44. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Mostly cloudy and hazy the rest of today. Still some air quality issues from distant wildfire smoke. 81 for the high and mostly cloudy tonight. In some areas, a shower, low 63. For tomorrow, mixture of clouds and hazy sunshine, a high of 83 tomorrow afternoon. Then for Friday, it's sunny to partly cloudy, a high again 83. It'll be warming up this weekend, mostly sunny on Saturday, high 87, probably above 90 on Sunday. Right now, it is 80 in Plainville and 79 inside Glastonbury and 78 degrees in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Bob Larson of the WTIC Weather Center.
Is thinning hair or receding hairline making you self-conscious? Stop feeling embarrassed about your thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS.
Join us this Sunday for Tumalo Financial, your go-to for retirement planning and taxes. Tune in to the father-son duo from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. or catch replay from 5 to 6 p.m. Tumalo Financial, retirement planning with integrity on WTIC News Talk 1080.
A Yellow Home Services believes when you support your neighbors, the local community gets stronger. That's why we've partnered with Food Share for the last 15 years, donating over 20,000 pounds of food and more than 1,000 turkeys. When you call a Yellow, you're helping those in need as well. Help make a difference when you call, click, or text today and say hello, a Yellow. Call for details. Licensed for safety. HIC 628926, P102776888, S104062441, S3308699, SM3004646, E1185643.
Summer is here, and it's time to plan your style staycation with Bob's Discount Furniture, where you can find everyday low prices on the hottest styles, the comfiest Consumer Reports recommended mattresses, fast, friendly delivery, and flex
45 seconds
to fit your budget.
Thank you, sir.
Go to mybobs.com for details. So stock up and score everyday low prices, delivered on time all summer long at your nearest store or at mybobs.com.
Oh, my Bob!
Bob's Discount Furniture.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
The self-proclaimed love child of Rush Limbaugh.
They're running a strange program, y'all.
Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WT.
Can you tell me a little bit about why it's called the Long Island Audit? Like, what are you auditing? Just all corruption and stuff?
Yeah, so when I first started, if I would have known that my channel was going to grow and my social media presence was going to grow, it was just kind of like a little hobby at first. I probably would have done something more general nationwide, but I'm from Long Island, born and raised in Long Island, New York, and Long Island Audit, it's First Amendment auditors, independent journalists, we audit the government to see that they're respecting our rights and honoring the oath that they took to uphold the United States Constitution, which is important to us.
Now, if I remember correctly, what you were originally famous for, became very popular for, was pointing out what constitutional rights officers were not aware of while they were doing their duty. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. So we have a constitutional right to film and record our government officials in the course of their duty. And it's our First Amendment right. And a lot of officers do not know that. There's a lack of training. They teach them how to shoot and point a gun at somebody, but they don't teach them the oath that they swore an oath to uphold the Constitution. They don't teach them about that part.
Yeah.
And that's what it's important to test that and to make sure that they are honoring their oath and they are knowledgeable about the law and the Constitution.
Yeah, as an aside, I have a family member who is a first-grade detective from Long Island. And I remember when we first started hanging out, like when he became a first-grade detective, I asked him, I said, there's a theory out there that says that you guys will violate a perpetrator's or an alleged perpetrator's civil rights or even constitutional rights because you know that many people in the inner city don't know their own rights. And before I could finish the sentence, he nodded and said, yep, absolutely. And I thought that was alarming. I thought that was like, wow, what a dereliction of duty.
They will get away with whatever they want to get away with, and that's why accountability is important. And the police unions and everything else, they help skirt accountability for these law enforcement officers, just like former Sergeant Brian Fahey. They retire, they resign, they go up the street and work for a different department. Brian Fahey, in fact, a source tells me, was going to go work for the Foxwoods Casino Police Department, the tribal police department. He had that job lined up. I believe they pulled his offer. That's alleged. I don't know, but that's what they do typically, is that they'll resign, retire, and then go work for another department in another county, state,
Right.
whatever.
Indeed. Well, the retirement gives him that. In other words, he's sort of is almost like retired with honors, so to speak, which gives him another opportunity somewhere else. I don't think, by the way, in my personal view, I don't think that what happened to you is going to go without consequences. That's just my view. Maybe I'll talk about that at another time. Let's get to the point where you are in all of this, how this all took place. You show up at his cul-de-sac with a truck with a screen that is displaying other encounters with Sergeant Fahey. Give me a little background on how we were able to get this audio. What were the other encounters that you had with him which led you to this display?
Yeah, so I brought my LED billboard truck, 14-foot billboard truck that I use for protests and to highlight corruption. And I was playing our prior incidents. Funny enough, very quickly, the only reason I own a billboard truck is because when I rented one, the government in Nassau County subpoenaed the billboard truck company to intimidate them. They wouldn't rent to me anymore, so I decided to buy my own. But that aside, I was playing our prior encounters. The first time I ever met former Sergeant Brian Fahey, was at Connecticut State Police Headquarters in Middletown. I was trying to file a complaint on a different state trooper for unlawfully detaining me in the Bradley International Airport. He told me IA wasn't there. They're in a separate part. I said, okay. He's very dismissive, saying how busy he was. I'm very, very busy. Didn't want to take the time. He even told me, turn that camera off. Let's talk like men. Just very dismissive. Nothing crazy, just, dismissive of my constitutional rights violations. And he told me, all right, have a nice day. Nice meeting you. I said, nice talking to you too, sir. Have a great day. And as he goes to walk away to go back in, very busy man, I stay out there to do an outro to my video, to my story. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to Internal Affairs now. So I'm waiting for him to go back inside so I can continue to talk. So I stand outside, and he says, you're going to go to IA, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'll be going. He's like, no, you're going to go right now, right? I'm like, no, I'm going to be going. I said, I thought you were busy. He said, I am busy. I was like, well, then you should get back to work. And he's like, I should get back to work? And that triggered him. And I was like, if you're busy, and then he immediately grabs my camera, throws it to the ground, grabs me by my shirt, starts poking me in my chest, saying, I'm not the one. Faced zero consequences for that incident, violated my constitutional right of the freedom of press. No consequences, zero from Internal Affairs. I visited state police again a couple years later to do a FOIA request for some information on the story I was working on, and he was there. He approached me, wouldn't allow me in the public building, slammed the door on my leg multiple times. Again, took my camera from me yet again, stopped it from recording, again, violating my constitutional rights, and was never held accountable for that incident again. The main theme here is that this man acts with impunity because he believes, and it's been shown that he is above the law, apparently, that he can spit in a journalist's face, he can pull a gun on someone that's clearly not a threat to him or his family. He says, I'm here protecting my family and my home. I wish I would have thought this in the moment, but I should have told him, well, your family and your home is that way.
Yeah.
They're that way.
It was, in fact, a part of my monologue about the incident was just that. In fact, someone called me about it, and I said, look, it is clear to see that, one, he can see you leaving the premises. Even when he walks out the door with his weapon, he sees that you've completely backed up from your earlier position. You continue to back up. He speed walks to you to get in front of you. All of that to then suggest that he was, one, fearful of his life, two, you were a threat to him. All of that flies in the face of any reason or any reasonable assessment because of his actions from the moment he tells you to get off his property to the moment where he gets his gun and starts walking up to you in a fast pace to get in your face, I might add, inches from your face, to start chest bumping you for a guy who's supposed to be threatened. None of that made sense. The part that always baffles me is the people saying, well, he shouldn't have been there. And I'm going, yeah, you're kind of making the sexy skirt argument, but I leave that alone. You know what I mean?
That's what I say. You're blaming the victim instead of blaming the actual criminal.
Yeah.
And I just want to say to everybody out there who makes that argument is that a lot of people say, well, what about Jehovah's Witnesses? What about the solar panel guy who's selling the solar panels? They all knock on your door, right? Do you chase them out with a gun and spit in their face?
Right.
You don't. But I'll go even further. I promise you, if a law enforcement officer is investigating you or your family, they will have no problem looking in your windows, knocking on your door, and trying to ask you questions. And they're not going to leave right away like I did. You're going to be like, get off my property, and they're not going to leave. Again, when did the people of this country become subservient to our public servant? We need to hold them accountable, even in politics, in everything, in every facet of our government. We should not idolize anybody. We should hold everybody accountable. They work for us, and it's time we remind them of it.
Let me ask you this, Sean Paul. Do you believe that the people who are criticizing you are looking at your actions as an indictment against the police department and not paying attention to this in an individual way? Because that's the way I see their argument. And I think that that's sort of where what we become as a society, is that your interaction with former Sergeant Brian Fahey is you attacking all police. They're seeing him as or identifying him as law enforcement and not as an individual who violated your rights, obviously, twice. And in this case, provoked you or tried to provoke you into an altercation that could have led to somebody's death or serious injury.
Right. And that's a good point you make, because this is what I've seen. I've been doing this for 4 years. This is what I've seen for the critics. And I love criticism. Criticize me all you want. I just want to have an honest conversation. There's got to be, we have to be honest about the facts about things. This is why I record. It's all there. You could watch it. But it's a good point you make, because this is what these kinds of the people who support the police without, again, and I support the police,
right?
But the people who support the police blindly, what they do is say they're heroes, right?
Right.
This is what they say. Police officers are our heroes. I back the blue. I'm a supporter of the police, but they take it to an extreme. I have a lot of friends in law enforcement, again, from my trainings, from just people supporting me across this country. I bring them on my YouTube channel. We have conversations. We might not agree on everything, but the one thing we all should agree on is the Constitution and our constitutional rights. And by labeling law enforcement officers as heroes, you are psyoping yourself. You are there, just because you wake up and you took a job with that, and you put on a gun and a badge every morning, doesn't make you a hero. Can a law enforcement officer be heroic? Yes, they can. Are there probably many law enforcement officers that are heroic? Sure, but not every. Former Sergeant Brian Fahey is no hero. He is the villain. He is a criminal, and it's clear to see.
But he gets to be. But that's the beauty of it, right? In the grand scheme of it, and I think anybody can agree with that. Brian Fahey, unfortunately, because of his actions, gets to be a hero. Not because of the badge, but not in spite of it either. Right? He is a human being, which, again, that's the point I've always made about, yes, do I back the blue as an institution? Of course I can. But you know what? I can think beyond the pale. I can say our law enforcement, they are the guys who usually run towards the danger instead of running from it. However, they are human beings. They are men, women, and they're brothers and sisters and husbands. And some of them, look, their character can be flawed because they're just as human as you and me.
Right. But even more so, and this is why I believe that we need higher standards in law enforcement, is that if the Faheys of the departments across our country were held accountable, law enforcement agencies have lower standards than a McDonald's. If a McDonald's employee spit in my face, they would be terminated. If a Walmart employee, the door greeter, spat in my face, they would be terminated immediately, not retire with a golden taxpayer-funded parachute.
Yeah.
They wouldn't keep their pension. They wouldn't have to keep all their benefits of Walmart and get promoted and all these things. Again, when did we get such low standards in our law enforcement agencies? It's fine to back the blue, but when one of these officers acts outside the scope of their duty, we have to be able to hold them accountable, and they have to be open for criticism.
Yeah.
Yes, they do run towards the danger, but when they don't, like Uvalde, Texas, when they allow children to die and they don't do anything because they're being cowardly, they don't want to lose their life, we have to criticize that.
Exactly.
You can't praise them for everything good they do and then ignore or try and gaslight everyone to say, oh, he's the problem. He knocked on the door. That is not the way we're supposed to live in this country. You can't just gaslight everybody and say that they're the problem.
Sean Paul Reyes is on the phone with us. Before we let you get out of here, let's talk a little bit about a guy I don't want to, poison my airwaves talking about. But your encounter with Ned Lamont, the guy literally gave you sort of the push off. He was absolutely dismissive because he's a worm. But I totally, a lot of people appreciated the fact that you stood up to him. I thought that was a great a great interview, even though he said nothing, refused to even talk. He looked annoyed, but I think it showed exactly the type of twerp he can be. Tell me a little bit about that in a minute.
This is what I'm talking about, that the governor, a constitutional rights violation and a grave injustice, objectively. No one can tell me that this is not objectively. My cameraman and I were arrested. High bonds, higher than people who commit violent crimes. $75,000 and $50,000 bonds that are set by the police. I have a lot of problems. Not a Connecticut resident. I've been here a lot. I love the state. I love the people. But, there's a lot of problems in your criminal justice system. Your prosecutors aren't elected. The state's attorneys here aren't elected. The police department sets the bond. That's not the case. I've traveled this entire country. That's not the case in almost every other state in the United States. But as far as Ned Lamont, he's the governor. He's supposed to be the ultimate enforcer and the ultimate defender of constitutional rights.
That's right.
And he just gave me the cold shoulder, would not even talk to me. He told me I'm not helping my cause, that I'm playing games. This is not a game.
Wait a minute, you're not helping your cause. According to Ned Lamont, it's supposed to be his job to help your cause, not yours.
Right, and I told him to his face, Governor, I think you forgot your place. You're a public servant, and you need to start acting like one. You're not a king. You work for the people. I think we just, as a nation, as a people, we need to get out of this, like, oh, he's the governor. How dare you approach him like that? What do you mean?
Yeah.
He's a public servant. Of course, that's who I'm supposed to approach. And newsflash, he's like, oh, we'll contact you. Never heard from him.
And you won't. And you won't. We know who these people are and how they act.
Right.
Sean Paul.
Send us an email. We'll get back to you. Right.
Sean Paul, I want to say I got to go, but I thank you for coming in. Thank you for spending so much time with us.
No
Please promise me you'll come back.
I will. I will come back. We can have more conversation. Get me one of these people who criticize me, and we can have a debate.
Hey, you know what? if you're open to it, absolutely, I'll make it happen. Sean Paul Reyes
we'll do it.
from
Long conversation. I like to keep it peaceful.
Thank you. Long Island Audit. Make sure you check them out on YouTube. Thank you, boss man. I appreciate you being here.
No problem. Thanks, Reese.
You got it. You got it. We'll get him back on the program. I definitely will. I've got his number. I'll send him a text. But go watch his videos. Let's get to some news with John Silva. Weather is being covered by Bob Larson, not John Larson, because that would be a mess. Bob Larson's got weather, and Mark Christopher is in a BPS traffic center. Hey, Mark.
All right, Reese, thank you very much. If you're heading into Hartford right now, South 91 delays 33, down to 32 A and B, again 27 to 28. Northbound 91's a good ride, Cromwell through downtown up and in Windsor. Westbound 84 tied up just after 56 Governor Street out to 45 Flatbush. Eastbound 84 slowing 46 Sisson Avenue to the Bulkley. 291 eastbound's tied up from I-91 over to the Abyssal Bridge in South Windsor. 2 westbound delays, 1D up to the 84 West merge in East Hartford. Both sides of 9 heavy approaching the Aragoni Bridge in Middletown. 9 northbound sluggish 32 in Berlin up to 34 in New Britain. 84 eastbound Waterbury slowing by 18. Westbound 84 some slow traffic 23 up to exit 22 in Waterbury. Heading on the southbound side of the Parkway, some slow traffic 60 on Hamden. And again, northbound on the Parkway, some slow traffic as you move into New Haven. 59 into the West Rock Tunnel. 95 southbound, you got delays in New Haven from 46 down to exit 44 on the southbound side of 95. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Mostly cloudy and hazy the remainder of today. Smoke from wildfires in Canada can create reduced air quality. High 81. Mostly cloudy tonight with a shower in some areas. Low 63. Intervals of clouds and hazy sunshine tomorrow. Once again, smoke from wildfires in Canada can cause reduced air quality. High 83. Turning out clear tomorrow night. Low 58 for Friday. Sunny to partly cloudy with an afternoon high of 83. I'm meteorologist Bob Larson of the WTIC Weather Center.
Follow WTIC News Talk 1080. Don't miss out on important updates in Connecticut, from breaking need-to-know news, weather alerts, and more. Follow WTIC News Talk 1080 on the Odyssey app now. WTIC is celebrating 100 years on the air and 100 years of serving Connecticut. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
It's 5 o'clock, Hartford temperature 79 degrees. Good afternoon, I'm John Silva. WTIC 1080 News. A search has been ongoing this afternoon for a child who went into the waters of the Housatonic River earlier today. The child reportedly went into the river near the Birdseye boat ramp in town. Stratford Professional Firefighters IAFF 998 on its Facebook says the child is between the ages of 5 and 6 years, reported in the water about 1:30 this afternoon. The U.S. Coast Guard, along with dive teams and drones, are taking part in that search. 5 soldiers were shot and wounded today at Fort Stewart in Georgia. Cammie McCormick has the latest.
The alleged gunman, an Army sergeant.
We have identified the alleged shooter as Sergeant Cornelius Radford, an automated logistics sergeant assigned to 2nd Brigade Combat Team.
General John Lubis.
Soldiers in the area that witnessed the shooting immediately and without hesitation tackled the soldier, subdued him, that allowed law enforcement to then take him into custody.
He joined the Army in 2018 and has no deployments.
Sergeant Radford has been interviewed by the Army Criminal Investigation Division and is currently in pretrial confinement, awaiting a charging decision by the Office of the Special Trial Counsel.
Lubis says it's believed he used a personal handgun in the attack. The injured soldiers are in stable condition. The base, the largest Army installation east of the Mississippi.
There's a September court hearing for an Afghan interpreter seized by ICE agents last month in Connecticut. Senator Richard Blumenthal visited the man in a Plymouth, Massachusetts prison today, where he's been held since. WTIC's Dave Mager is there.
Blumenthal says the man named Zia is hopeful for his release, but there's sadness in his eyes. He's locked up without charges, away from his wife and 5 kids.
He was doing everything right.
And was in the country legally when he was seized by ICE agents in East Hartford after an appointment to arrange for his green card.
The only reason he's in that prison is because ICE has to make a quota.
Zia says he's sure he'll be killed by the Taliban if he returns to Afghanistan. A hearing before an immigration judge is set for next month. Advocates say the White House is breaking U.S. promises to Afghan allies in other ways, shutting down Operation Enduring Welcome and cutting off temporary protected status. In Plymouth, Mass., Dave Mager, WTIC 1080 News.
Democrats are coming forward to challenge fellow Democratic Congressman John Larson in the 1st District. Among them is Town Councilman Jack Perry of Southington. He founded a local garbage company and says the biggest issue he wants to address is the economy.
We need a generational change. The Democrats, I feel, has failed, and, the working and middle class folks. And, it's time for a change. And, we don't need another politician up in D.C. We don't need to get any more politicians elected. That word is a very negative word.
President Trump reporting progress from envoy Steve Witkoff and Russian President Vladimir Putin. More from Washington and correspondent Linda Kenyon.
Special Envoy Steve Witkoff has been meeting with President Putin in Moscow ahead of the White House deadline for Russia to reach a peace deal with Ukraine or face economic sanctions. Posting on social media, President Trump called the Witkoff discussions highly productive, adding, "Great progress was made." The president also said everyone agrees the war with Ukraine must end, saying, quote, "We will work towards that in the days and weeks to come." Meanwhile, reports indicate the U.S. still stands ready to impose sanctions on Russia's trading partners, despite the Witkoff talks. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, Washington.
Markets up on Wall Street today. The Dow gained 81 points. The NASDAQ was up 252, and the S&P up 45. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Coverage varies by plan, view contracts, and exclusions and endurance. Auto repair bills are through the roof. $3,000 to replace the transmission. $4,000 for a blown engine. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all out of pocket. You need an Endurance Auto Protection Plan. No matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, drivetrain, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done at the certified mechanic of your choice, and they're paid directly with no middleman. Plans cover 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, lockout services, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Act now and get our elite benefits, including complete tire care and key fob replacement. A $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again, so call now for your free quote. Call 800-253-6203. 800-253-6203. 800-253-6203.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
We'll get to your phone calls if you want to respond to my interview with Sean Paul Reyes, but you know what time it is. It's Hollywood news. I'm sorry, I love talking about the stuff that we talk about, but I love the Hollywood news. My favorite part of the day. Because it's lighthearted. And Roland likes the music. By the way, that song is Hooray for It's Hooray for Hollywood, by the way. I always love that song. Anyway, in Hollywood news today, I don't know if you know this. I've talked about it a lot. One of my favorite genres of movies are disaster films. And I love them, no matter what it is. Day After Tomorrow, Armageddon. Yeah, I love them. If it's disaster, I'm there. And we talk about it ad nauseam. But this is a disaster film I've got some resistance towards, even though I love the actor. I like the actor, I should say. I'm a little resistant. So there's a new movie coming out loosely based on a true story. It's called The Lost Bus. Has anybody seen the trailer yet? Go check it out. But here's the premise of the story. A bus driver has to navigate a bus carrying children and their teacher to safety through the 2018 Camp Fire, which was one of the deadliest campfires or deadliest fires in California's history. Now, I love meteors flying into Earth, an earthquake, or, aliens come down like Independence Day. I love all of that stuff. I even love that ridiculous movie that, what was it, where Sylvester Stallone was trapped in a tunnel. It's like Poseidon Adventure in a Tunnel. I can't remember what the name of that movie was, but I watched it.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that? Remember
that?
Yeah.
And the tunnel crashed, and
yeah.
Trying to figure out how to get out.
I think it was stuck in the Lincoln Tunnel, now that I think about it. But yeah, I love those movies. But Fire, I can't get behind. You know what? It's also the reason why I didn't watch that movie that Tommy Lee Jones was in with the volcano. It was an earthquake, and there was like lava everywhere. I can't remember what name of that movie that was. Like anything that has to deal with burning, I can't watch it because I'm deathly afraid of fire, like I'm Frankenstein. It's weird.
It was Daylight.
Daylight, that's it. That's right, Daylight with Sylvester Stallone. Yeah, I loved, again, all of those disaster films. Big fan. But this one, even though I'm intrigued, I watched the trailer the other day. I said, I don't know if I can sit through that one. Anyway, so that's Hollywood news. It's time to get back to some weather and traffic. Bob Larson is in for Jason Caterina, and Mark Christopher is in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, did we find out if he's getting married? Like, if that's why he's not here? Did we find out at all? Did we even bother to look it up?
No.
No? Okay.
I don't know.
Do we have a number to call them and to see, is there a number?
There is. We don't have it, though.
Okay.
We don't have Jason Caterina's number?
No, we don't have it.
Oh, man, that's messed up.
Somebody at State College.
Well, Jason,
if you're listening,
we miss you anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody's listening and they know what's going on, let us know.
Yeah,
because nobody knows what's going on.
Well, he has surgery on his arm. Remember?
Oh, he's on the no, I can't say disabled list anymore.
Yeah, the injured reserve.
Injured reserve. Yeah, the IR. He's on the IR. Maybe that's what it is.
I think it's his wedding.
Westbound 84, you're tied up approaching the bulk.
I think it's his wedding and his honeymoon, probably.
So do I.
Down slows 46th Avenue to the bulk. A little slow again out by the 384 interchange. Southbound 91 delays 33 to 32. A little slow down by exit 28. Hartford Weathersfield line. Another bump as you move from 19 to 17 in Meriden. Northbound 91 looks good. Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. 291 eastbound's a little slow coming off of I-84 up to the Bissell Bridge. 2 westbound slowing 1D up to the 84 West Merge. Both sides of 9 heavy approaching the Aragoni. Heading toward Waterbury. 84 eastbound slowing by 18. And again, some slow traffic down by the 691 interchange in Cheshire. Westbound 84 is tight 23 to 22 in Waterbury. Heading toward New Haven, southbound Parkway delays 60 into the West Rock. Northbound Parkway slowing 59 into the West Rock. 95 south delays 46 to 44 in New Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Mostly cloudy and hazy tonight in parts of the area. Shower, low is 63. And still some haze from distant wildfire smoke tomorrow. A mixture of clouds and hazy sun. High of 83. Pretty clear tomorrow night. A little bit cooler. A low of 58. Friday looks nice. Sunshine, a few clouds. High 83. Trending warmer starting with Saturday. Mostly sunny. High 87. It's currently 76 in Bristol. It's 78 in Torrington. 77 degrees in Hartford. This is meteorologist Bob Larson of the WTIC Weather Center.
Having options tastes better with McDonald's. Choose between the $5 hot and spicy McChicken deal or the $6 McDouble meal deal. Price and participation may vary.
Hi, this is Eric Hogarth, certified financial planner from Money Wisdom. Tune in every week for insights on taxes, investments, income planning, Social Security, and so much more. Tune in to Money Wisdom Saturdays at 8:30 on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Pete Sweeney, Director of Operations at United Tool and Die Company in West Hartford.
Managing computer network downtime and security are top priorities for Pete, but he had a serious problem with his MSP, Managed Service Provider.
We were paying them approximately $130,000 a year. This left no funding for infrastructure upgrades or repairs.
So Pete called an ASP, Tab Computer Systems, an actual service provider.
Tab went through everything with us, explained what services they offered, and provided us with a price that was significantly less than what we were currently paying.
Now Pete can say,
the money that we're saving monthly, we're able to put that money into future infrastructure upgrades to update our IT and security.
Call Tab today, 1-888-TAB-4-HELP, 1-888-TAB, the numeral 4, HELP, or visit tabinc.com. Technologies advancing business. Tab Computer Systems.
Life's unpredictable and full of unknowns. But no one wants to face an unexpected repair that could derail their plans and budget. That's why we're introducing CarShield, the ultimate way to future-proof your ride. We're not just about fixing problems, we're about preventing financial surprises. You can get a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan designed to save you from out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Imagine driving with complete peace of mind, knowing that if something goes wrong, you'll pay almost nothing for covered repairs. Included in every plan is free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. This protection plan is at an all-time low, making it accessible to any driver. Don't wait for a breakdown to realize you need coverage. Invest in the future of your vehicle and your wallet today. Call CarShield now for your free quick quote. Call 800-220-6409. That's 800-220-6409. Or ride. Call CarShield now, 800-220-6409. 800-220-6409. Again, 800-220-6409.
Reese on the Radio is getting ready to drop some knowledge on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Of course I did that. Anyway, we're back. It's Reese on the Radio, and I've got some other news and other views I want to get into, especially about the billionaires who live in blue states. It's a real. Connecticut Sentinel posted it today on their X account. I want to talk about that a little bit. It's just a wild piece of information to have. We'll get into that. But, of course, there are people reacting to my interview with Sean Paul Reyes of Long Island Audit, and I want to get to those. Let's start off with Steve in Waterbury. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Just what happens to be that I'm the master of disaster. That being said, I would like to end my conversation with how, if I was an investigative journalist, how I think I would like to approach law enforcement. But, we as citizens, the police officers, the military, we all have to follow rules of the law. And unfortunately, our enemy doesn't, whether criminals or, if we're out at war. And that's one of the unfortunate things about it. Now, growing up, I had actually two friends I used to have coffee with. One was a police officer, a nice guy. The other one was a kid that was kind of troublesome.
Yeah.
He outgrew it. Well, that cop actually pistol whipped this kid.
Wow.
Younger. So cops used to be a lot rougher, the rubber hose, all that stuff
Yeah.
they used to see. That used to be the day. And the worst part is, crime wasn't as bad as it is now. I mean, it's gotten exponentially worse.
Yeah, but I think that there's a degree. Look, I don't expect everyone to be noble. And there's this thing that I've said that I think Sean Paul was sort of making that statement as well, was saying that we can't go walk blindly into this idea that people are noble or we get to cede the moral high ground to individuals because they put on a badge and a gun, because they are still human, which is, again, there are two sides to that coin, Steve. What I say is this. I say this. When I look at people like Black Lives Matter demonizing all police, I push back on them and I say, those individuals are human. Are there bad cops in that group? Yes. Would you appreciate, can you appreciate my point of view if I were to say, when you say all cops are bad, can I retort by saying, so are all blacks? You would turn around and go, no, you would freak out. So what I'm saying is that you have to point out, when people say that the good cops need to point out the bad cops, my response to Black Lives Matter is, you first. Point out the bad people. So
I fully agree with you. There's no argument there for me on that.
Yeah. So that's I think that's what Reyes is trying to point out, is that in this instant, they didn't like what he had to do, and then they put Fahey on the pedestal as he represents all cops, and what Sean Reyes is doing is demonizing all cops. And that's not the case. This is an altercation with an individual who chose to do something reprehensible. That's it.
Exactly. Now, like that congressman that's running, just like he got falsely arrested for self-defense.
Yeah.
That was totally wrong. That was, we got to weed out that kind of stuff. But if I was to be an investigative journalist, and I might be wrong about this because I'm not, if I was to go film something, I find a lot of these things on YouTube, seems like there's confrontation right from the beginning, as opposed to, hey, I'm here for this reason. I have my constitutional rights. Just want you to know why I'm here, and maybe even smooth it over with, the superiors ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it probably would go a lot easier and then show up on a regular basis, not be, all the time, but at least get to know some of the people so you don't have that confrontation.
You know what? But again, I think that from what we saw or his earlier confrontations with Brian Fahey, that this was a situation where there was no way to go but down. And just in my view, it just seemed like there was no reconciliation that was going to happen between these two gentlemen. It was only going to escalate to a far worse place, and I think we got there. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, and I think that cop's totally wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me get some other people in here. Scott's in the car. How are you, Scott?
Not too bad, Reese. How you doing, buddy?
I'm all right, sir. What's up?
Good. I just want real quickly a little piece of trivia that you mentioned. Like you even like that movie Daylight.
Yes.
With Fly. Well, his co-host, co-star in that was Amy Brenneman, and Amy is from Glastonbury, Connecticut.
That is correct. I forgot who the love interest was in that. Amy Brenneman, who also she had a series where she plays a judge, right?
That's right. Yeah, Judging Amy. And
Judging Amy.
It was really weird because I went to high school with her. She was in my class.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, and now I knew her pretty well. It's funny because when you watch the movie Heat, I dated someone who was Diane Venora's sister, and I also knew Amy in the movie. So the two of those were in there with Al Pacino, and it was just funny when you're watching it and you know somebody.
Yeah, that's right. Isn't that crazy? That is pretty wild.
Weird. Yeah, crazy. That was it.
Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. Let's go to Mike in Bristol. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Reese again. I have no issue with Sean calling himself an investigative journalist.
Okay.
My issue with what he did was he's claiming that he was investigating corruption.
Okay.
The Hartford Courant just published an article a month ago.
I saw.
The highest paid state trooper in the state is making $439,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
$439,000. So there's 1,000 state troopers in Connecticut. Why go single out Fahey?
Well, wait a minute. Well, Mike, did you miss the reason why this even escalated to this confrontation? Because here,
Absolutely.
But
I mean,
no.
I
But you're asking him. Hold on. You're asking him to investigate something broader. When what happened was he was there when he first shows up to file a complaint for something completely unrelated to Brian Fahey. He encounters Fahey that first time. Then he encounters him a second time in both. And then after posting those videos, he gets a tip about the guy that he has encountered that says, hey, here's some other stuff. Remember that guy you got into the confrontation with twice? Well, guess what? There's this. So as a journalist, when you're already down a road and somebody gives you a tip about something, you generally go towards where that has led you because of these confrontations. Now, asking him to focus on that other stuff, not that he shouldn't, but what the impetus of all of this were the first two confrontations, which then led him to the fact that this guy is not only rude and disrespectful and violates people's constitutional rights, but he's making a crap load of money.
Oh, you know, I'm not disagreeing with the fact that, you know, Fahey made a lot of money, but I just don't think Sean should have gone to that house because he knows what was going to happen.
Then you got to have that problem when it comes to guys like Brian Ross at ABC News. Brian Ross made a career doing that.
But on the same note, though, you know, Sean could have just gone to, say, you know, headquarters and started questioning the higher-ups there and worked his way back down to Fahey. But, you know,
wait, Mike, how many times have you seen where a situation happens in the news and a news reporter who found out where either the perpetrator lived or the accused has lived and knocked on their front door to speak to them, and the people have said, no comment, and didn't even open the door? How many people have you seen do that? Because I have all my entire life.
But let me say this, though. You know, Sean did an interview with the Hartford Current a couple days ago, 2-3 days ago, and the Current quotes Sean as saying that he got the tip about, you know, the overtime.
Yeah.
But he has found no evidence that corruption exists. So he says that to the Current, but then he comes out and is saying just the opposite.
But what did he? Wait. Okay. Well, listen. If we got to litigate it, Mike, let's litigate it. What was the reason Sean Fahey, as a journalist, whether you like it or not, why does he show up at Brian Fahey's door? To ask what?
To ask him about his overtime.
There you go. Now, he's doing the job of a journalist by not publishing that the guy is on the take or publishing that he's getting unearned overtime. He went there because he got a tip to ask the question, do you have a statement about this allegation that you're getting overtime working on a desk job? And instead of answering that question or saying no comment, get off my property, it escalates to something else.
I don't know. I think we're going to have to agree to disagree.
That's fine, but that's okay.
You know, but my issue is, though, like I said, I don't know. You just don't go to a man's house where his family is, especially a police officer. You know, I have an issue with that.
I don't know. And listen to me, Mike, from the bottom of my heart, I don't want you to think I don't. I totally understand where you're coming from. Because from your point of view, and because of what we saw, anything bad could have happened in that moment. And I know that's the point. And you're not looking at it in a sense of, you know, looking at anybody evil. Is that in that incident, you could have the perfect storm of a situation where somebody ends up either losing their life or being seriously injured in that moment. And you are looking at this from a perspective of, he doesn't recognize him as a journalist. This police officer who may have been hot-headed or thought that he was under threat may have escalated into something where something far more tragic could have happened. And I know that's the point of view you're coming from.
Yeah. So let me just point one other point I wanted to make, too, that I don't know if it was mentioned because I listened to 95% of the interview with him.
Yes.
You know, Sean gets paid based on clicks and views from YouTube.
Sure.
So, you know, he's obviously going to post the most controversial clips he can find and post those on YouTube because that's what's going to drive his income. So, you know,
so you're saying that his motives may not have been pure, is what you're saying based upon that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
And you know what? That's an interesting opinion. But you know what? I'll deal with that later. But I appreciate you. And I get where you're coming from. Yep. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. Let me take before we go to break, Mark in West Hartford, who's of the same vein, of course, of Sean Paul Reyes. What did you think?
Man, so I guess I guess I am pure, huh? I haven't made a penny over the years. Well, so here's the thing. In this last caller, what a great caller to follow.
Yeah.
Is there's two styles of reporting and everything in between. So do you remember Chris Hansen?
Of course.
He used to do To Catch a Predator.
Damn right.
Catch a Predator.
Still does it.
And everybody watched it. It was on for, but I mean, remember it was like a thing.
Yeah.
And everybody liked it. So the analogy I use is he was fishing from the side of the pond. He was using a traditional hook.
Indeed.
And line and worm, and he brought him in. Then you got guys like, and I'm not going to put myself in that category with Sean Paul Reyes, but then you got guys that dive into the water with a spear.
Yeah.
And catch either way, they're catching the fish. You might
Correct.
not like the way they do it, but that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
And you and him inspired me. I did it for Mark Christopher. Go on, Mark from West Hartford. I went into my archives and I grabbed my 2 engagements with Ned Lamont at of all places, my wife, thank God, again, God is good, dragged me to a pick-your-own-flower farm. It was a grand opening. And who's there? Ned and Annie Lamont.
Wow.
My wife headed for the other side of this event, and I went up to him. So I posted the 2 videos. You got to watch them. I didn't title them properly, but they're on Mark from West Hartford. I just went up. I just threw them up there now.
Yeah.
And you'll see. He literally got in his car with his security detail and left because the first thing I engaged him with was COVID. I literally called him out for killing people, putting COVID-positive people in. He tried to turn around. We did the best. I go, yeah, that's why we were like 3rd in the country for most deaths in nursing homes. Then he ran into a store. Then when he came out, and I don't even know if anybody knows this, he went on an economic development trip to Israel. Of course, nobody covered it in the media, but I did.
Yeah.
And I found out that one day he sat with 2 people that do business with Annie Lamont's company.
I remember you were talking about that.
So you'll see the video of me, and that's him. I'm literally following him. I'm not chasing.
But you
him
make
down,
a
and
no,
he
but
gets
your
in his
but your
car.
overall point is that what he experienced is exactly what you experienced. These guys are not used to being confronted, which again also goes back to what I was saying about A.G. Tong, with these people who are showing up at press conferences, not even asking questions, just stenographers for these folks and printing the written word by these guys or the spoken word by these guys and then getting back in their trucks and going back to the station. It's ridiculous. And when you guys confront them, these guys, they don't even know how to act because they're going, you're asking questions? Oh, my goodness.
So where does your last caller draw the line? Was I out of line? Here Ned Lamont's there.
It's a good point.
He's in a public place. You know, was I inappropriate for doing that? Or did I get some good content to show the taxpayers and residents of Connecticut what a fraud he is?
Yeah, and his
And how he
inability
can't
to
take a
answer
question.
and an inability to answer tough questions, which is a
Got-
part of
he'll-
his
he'll
job.
get in his- yeah.
Yep.
He got in his car. He didn't even turn around. He knew he couldn't address that question. But Sean Paul, boy, I'm going to follow him, and I guess I'll use him as a benchmark.
There you go.
I
Exactly.
don't
I think
care
we all
about no money.
we need more. I'm telling you, we need more like him. I stand by that claim. Thank you, Mark. Let's get another check of our news with John Silva. Bob Larson is in for Jason Katarina, and Mark Christopher is in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
All right, Reese, thank you very much. Well, not too bad in Hartford. Southbound 91 slows 33 down to 32 A and B. Delays again 27 to 28. Another bump on 19 to 17 in Meriden for the Wilbur-Cross Parkway. Northbound 91 moving well. Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. Westbound 84 slows approaching the Bulkley Bridge in East Hartford out to 47 Sigourney. 84 eastbound delays Hartford 46 to the Bulkley Bridge. A little slow again out by the 384 interchange at exit 59. Westbound Route 2 slows 1 up to the 84 West merge. 9 north and southbound slowing at the Aragoni Bridge in Middletown. 84 eastbound a little tight by 18 in Waterbury. Westbound 84 some slow traffic as you move from exit 23 up to the Mixmaster in Waterbury. Heading down in toward New Haven, southbound Parkway, some slow traffic from 60 into the West Rock. Northbound Parkway slows 59 into the West Rock Tunnel. In New Haven, 95 southbound sluggish, 46 down to 44. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Mostly cloudy and hazy the remainder of today. Smoke from wildfires in Canada can create reduced air quality. High 81. Mostly cloudy tonight with a shower in some areas. Low 63. Intervals of clouds and hazy sunshine tomorrow. Once again, smoke from wildfires in Canada can cause reduced air quality. High 83. Turning out clear tomorrow, low 58 for Friday. Sunny to partly cloudy with an afternoon high of 83. I'm meteorologist Bob Larson of the WTIC Weather Center.
There's a lot happening in Washington and in your local neighborhood. Follow WTIC News Talk 1080 on the Odyssey app to keep up with the latest. And now, a WTIC News Update.
5:30 Hartford temperature, 78 degrees. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. The search continues for a child who went into the waters of the Housatonic River in Stratford this afternoon. Police say the child went in near the Birdseye boat ramp. A local firefighters union saying the child is between 5 and 6 years of age, was reported in the water around 1:30. Dive teams, drones, and a U.S. Coast Guard chopper have been taking part in that search. 5 soldiers in the hospital in what officials are calling an active shooter situation earlier today at Fort Stewart in Georgia. All are expected to survive. There is a suspect in custody, Sergeant Cornelius Radford. The soldiers treated on site before being rushed to the hospital. Bridgeport man in the hospital after he was shot this morning in New Haven. Police there say they got the call from Yale New Haven Hospital about the 36-year-old. There's no word on where or when that shooting took place. Police say the victim and a companion who was with him have been giving conflicting accounts about the incident. Police in Greenwich investigating following the discovery of 2 people found dead in a home in town. Officers were called to a residence for a welfare check in the old Greenwich part of the town. And Senator Richard Blumenthal was in Plymouth, Massachusetts today to meet with Zia S., Afghan interpreter living legally in East Hartford, who was detained by ICE last month while he was addressing an issue regarding his green card. On Wall Street, the Dow gained 81 points today. The NASDAQ finished up 252, and the S&P was up 45 points. Red Sox and Royals will finish their 3-game series at Fenway tonight. 6:10 the pregame here after the news. Bottom of the 9th, Yanks have a 3-2 lead over Texas. Mets fell to the Guardians 4-1 today. And in the Eastern League, about a half hour from first pitch, Yard Goats in Altoona again. Again, 6 o'clock on the Odyssey app. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Low testosterone affects many men today, even men as young as 30. But finding someone you can trust for quality low-T treatment isn't so easy. This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health, a Promedic restorative health practice. And that's why I'm pleased to announce the opening of our newest location of Northeast Men's Health right here in Warwick. As a Promedic affiliate, Northeast Men's Health has the experience and expertise to get you the right treatment for your particular medical situation. At Northeast Men's Health, we're experts in treating low testosterone. In fact, we've successfully treated thousands of men for low T and have seen the amazing impacts low T treatments have. If you're like most men, you'll sleep better, have more energy and improve mental clarity, get better gains in the gym, and your sex drive will likely improve as well. So call us. Just $99 gets you a PSA and T test and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-930-5956. That's 800-930-5956. Or go to northeastmenshealth.com. You'll sleep We have better. 6 offices across the Northeast to serve you.
Actual price will depend on product. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, hims.com/joy.
The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed from WTIC News Talk 1080. Download the free Odyssey app, search WTIC News Talk 1080, and tap earlier today to get started.
All right, normally I would do what had happened was, but I promised at the beginning of the show I wanted to kind of show some respect. So I got some time to do this here. And if it's going to sound like I'm going off on a tangent, but I let me first, from the beginning, apologize. But this is important for me to get out. One of the things that I love about being here on the radio is what I've been able to experience over and over again. And I'm having a sort of second bout of this really, really great thing. As I said, when I worked in Boston at RKO, it was fantastic the way that people started emailing me and contacting me about things in and around the Boston area. And it wasn't, there were the others that called in and said, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know anything about this town. And there were those people who were just angry. I experienced them here at WTIC when I first got here too. But there are others who put their faith in the program. They liked it, they enjoyed it, they thought it was interesting, and they immediately stuck their neck out to help. There are so many of them, because they're always here, and I appreciate them. Of course, Mark in West Hartford, Craig in the car, Lori, who's head of research here at Reese On The Radio, who's not here today. Where the hell is she? And so many others. Matty O in Bristol, a name I gave him because he reminds me of a person who passed away at World Trade Center, Matty O. And there are so many others, countless others that are going to have. Of course, Stevie V. But those guys have always contacted me, sending me stuff, and letting me know what's going on. And I've never once in my head said to myself, to one of them, you do know I follow the news like every day, 24 hours a day. They're always sending me something, because, and this is the reason why I love it. It's not because they're trying to do my job for me. It's because they want me to do my job well. They want me to do my job and be on top of it. They are assisting me in ways that they will never understand, in a way that I love that they will never understand. So I appreciate them. And I said, I'm going to forget some people, but you know who you are. Tommy O also sends me everybody. They're always, Julie in Boston, always sending me news stories because they want me on top of my game, because they believe in this product and they believe in what we're doing here. The other part about it is, and I'll say this, they've never had a reason to believe that we could change a thing. This could have been just another show where we were just complaining about stuff. But that was never my intent. And if they didn't believe that we could change things before, I hope they believe in it now. And with the assist that I get from them all day, every day, even on weekends, shows me that they believe that maybe something can change. They have faith, and in some ways they put that in me. And I will always be grateful, and I will always owe them for that. So I just want to get that out there. Let's get some weather and traffic again. Bob Larson is in for Jason Caterina, and Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Another good friend is always keeping me. He told me about the loop. No, you didn't tell me about the loop. What did you tell me about?
I don't know.
I can't remember which roadway you were explaining to me, but you're always telling me something new. That's why I love that about you. That's why I always interact with you, because I almost feel like you're kind of another member of the. Well, you are another member of the show, so I kind of feel like it's all the big.
Do you know something I don't know yet?
No, I'm just saying. I just love the assist, man. When you come in and the back and forth, it's fun to do.
Oh,
absolutely. I do the show alone practically. I'm going to drag somebody in here.
I know. I mean, other than Roseanne showing up, there's really not a lot of people in the background there.
Exactly. So I got to keep it afloat.
I guess I'm just chopped liver.
Hartford right now, West
I meant
84.
you two. Sorry.
Uh-oh. Keep it afloat. Keep it afloat. Get the Flex Seal out. We'll keep this thing afloat. If you're westbound 84, you're tied up approaching the Bulkley Bridge out to 45 Flatbush Avenue. 84 eastbound's tied up approaching 46 Sisson Avenue into the Bulkley. Southbound 91 delays 33 down to 32 A and B, and again down by exit 28. Northbound 91 moving well. Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. 291 through 84. Okay, 2 westbound's a little slow as you merge with 84 West and East Hartford. Both sides of 9 losing speed at the Aragoni Bridge in Middletown. 84 westbound a little tight, 25A to 20. 25, again 22 into the Mixmaster on the westbound side of 84 in Waterbury. Southbound Parkway slows 60 into the West Rock. Northbound Parkway slowing 59 into the West Rock. 95 south delays 46 down to 44.
Yes,
New
Carmella, the
Haven.
Mixmaster.
Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Mostly cloudy tonight in parts of the area. Shower, low of 63, and then a mixture of clouds and hazy sunshine tomorrow. That upper level wildfire smoke from Canada is still creating some air quality issues. A high of 83. Then becoming clear tomorrow night, low 58. Friday looks nice, sunny two at times, partly cloudy, high 83. Trending warmer over the weekend, mostly sunny on Saturday, high 87. Some sunshine up past 90 on Sunday. Right now it is 76 in East Hartford, it's 78 in Newington, and 77 degrees in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Bob Larson of the WTIC Weather Center.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/fax or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
The success you've already had matters at University of Maryland Global Campus because we're a school for real life. An accredited state university, UMGC lets you earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and relevant life and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. We offer affordable tuition and online and hybrid courses. Classes start August 13th. Apply now and save with no application fee. Learn more at c.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
What's up, everybody? You know who it is. You know who it is. You know who it is. It's Reese on the Radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
Excuse me. We'll get to some last-minute phone calls before we get up out of here. There was this thing that the Connecticut Sentinel put up, and it's called a map. Excuse me. A map of billionaires in and around the United States. And I thought this was interesting. Roland, if I had to ask, and by the way, Carmelo, you're 100% right. It was the Mixmaster. That was what Mark Christopher was helping me with. Roland, if I had to ask you, of all the states, all 50 states, what state do you think has the most billionaires?
The most billionaires.
Yeah. I'll give you a hint with the number, and then you tell me where you believe that they would possibly live. The number is 199.
199.
Yeah, 199 billionaires live in this state. Which one do you think it is?
New York.
Oh, that is second. California has 199. New York comes in second with a 136 billionaires.
Sheesh.
136. That means that between the two, California and New York, they have the most. 335.
That makes sense because you always see the millionaires traveling back and forth from New York to
California or Los Angeles. Yeah.
LA. So that means they're they're visiting the billionaires.
Yeah, the two states right behind them are Florida and Texas. Florida has 117 billionaires. Texas with 83. Those two combined, only 200 billionaires. Only 200.
So how many billionaires are there in the United States?
Oh, I'm so glad that you asked. According to this, the U.S. Census, there are 899 billionaires who live in the United States, but only 3 states. Is it 3? Yes, 3 states. Well, I would say 2 states have 0 billionaires living in them, and the third one is not really a state. It's the Commonwealth, so you already know it's D.C. But only 2 states do not have any billionaires to speak of. One is really, really easy. I'll give you a hint. It's cold. Very cold. Huh?
Oh, very cold.
Very, very cold. Very, very, very cold.
I said Maine, but
no, it's Alaska. Alaska has none. No reason to be a billionaire
That's
up
crazy.
there. Yeah. And the other one is, this one makes sense, West Virginia. West Virginia has no. Hawaii has 3. And that's like probably one of the smallest states in the union. They've got 3. Alabama, 1. New Mexico, 1. Idaho, no, Idaho. That's got 1.
Oh, my goodness.
Idaho, New Mexico, Alabama, Kentucky, Iowa, North and South Dakota only have 1. Only have 1. And some of the largest states in the union are Illinois with 30, Georgia with 21, Nevada with 19, Arizona's got 15, Colorado 13, Pennsylvania's got 23. And everybody else, of course, is just like, they're working around the single digits.
What does Louisiana have, 2?
Louisiana is 4.
Oh, 4. Okay.
Yeah, just 4. Puerto Rico has 1. Oh, and I was wrong. I apologize. Delaware has 0. D.C.'s got 2. D.C. is wrong. D.C.'s only got 2, but Delaware's got 0.
Delaware got it, and
that's
West
because
Virginia.
the Bidens don't make any more money.
Were they billionaires?
No, they were just millionaires.
I don't think so.
Yeah, they spent all their money. But it's interesting that New York and California with the most billionaires. The only reason why I bring it up is because, we've got a lot of this, taxation going on in some of the most liberal states, New York and California being the most liberal. And with the rising cost to live in both of those states, the only thing that they can do is raise taxes. So I'm looking at this number and I'm going, what are we going to see in the next 5 years? Can 199 billionaires afford to stay in California? What happens next, in the next 5 years? Are we going to see that number start to dwindle down to like 180, 170 for California? 136 is not a lot for New York. New York is is incredibly smaller than California. When are we going to see that number go down to 100? In fact, I'm really inclined to believe that number is going to go down to 100 within the next 4 years, maybe even 3. Because of the way in which things are going in New York City. So I don't know. I really, really feel like those numbers are astronomical. And I would have never guessed that there were 899, almost 900 billionaires in the country.
I would have never thought that.
What was the number you would have gone with?
I would have thought that like maybe in the
low 4s?
Yeah, well, maybe not even in the low 4s.
Really? You thought it was a lot less?
Yeah, I was
billionaires.
I was thinking more like 3 per state or something like that.
You know what? I'm with you. When I looked at this, I went, wow. For me, that is a lot of billionaires in the country. And if you're looking at that like a person like Elizabeth Warren who wants to tax them, I can see where she would get that idea. I was like, we got almost 900 billionaires here. Well, let's tax them all. That does make sense because when I think about billionaires, I really don't think of them as living in the U.S. I think of like the United Arab Emirates, when I think of billionaires. Those guys are like oil magnates. Sure, we've got the Warren Buffetts here. We got the Mark Cubans there. Even Donald Trump, for that matter. Even Oprah Winfrey. But to know that we have 899 in the country, maybe I'm different. I'm just saying now I'm looking at $1 billion as obtainable. I don't know. It's
do
too
you
much
have
for
to
me.
Do to obtain $1 billion?
$1 billion?
You have to have a lot of dirt on you. You think you have to have a lot of dirt?
No. I think what you can do, and I think it's possible. I think that you have to innovate. I think that you have. I've always believed in the idea that necessity is the mother of invention. And I believe that if you create the right thing for the right issue, that you can obtain wealth in this country. Everyone's looking for convenience. And look, we live in a country of complaining. And with all of the complaining, all you have to find that thing, that universal thing that everybody complains about, and fix that. And if you do, and people are willing to pay a price for it, you can be a billionaire in no time.
So you don't think innovation and creation has underload?
Yeah, absolutely. Without a doubt. Do I believe that some people cheat and cut corners? Without a doubt. I know that. But, I'm not going to go. I cannot be under the impression or to condemn people without that knowledge. I know that some people look at billionaires or look at those people who have that money and they go, like in the back of their mind, they just go, yeah, it's no way he made that much money and was on the up and up or was the purest of the pure. He had to have done something dirty. But I'll tell you where that comes from. And it's really become people have a very uncomfortable relationship with money. They just do. They have this idea that money, in order to have it, you must be unscrupulous. And there's a nobility in poverty. Like, I don't have any money, so I must be pure. If you do, you must be crooked. And I don't really believe that. I just don't.
So you think so if you had to guess. And this is just.
Oh,
this
yeah,
is
we're
not
just
trying to talk
spitballing.
about anybody in a negative way.
Sure.
But 899 billionaires, if you had to guess, how many of them do you think?
Oh, we're unscrupulous?
Yeah.
How many do I think out of 899 were unscrupulous?
Oh, just say a percentage. You don't have to say like.
I can say a number.
Okay.
7. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't know. I would really need to know like the overall statistics. I would go this way. I'll go this far, and I think it's
half.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to do the same thing. I can say half. I'll just go. You know what? I don't think everybody's on up. I don't think everybody's as pure as the driven snow. I'm sure that some people may have had to cut corners to get by. It doesn't make them evil.
Yeah, you got to also think about it. The guy at the top, that's the billionaire.
Yeah,
he doesn't know everything that's
true
going on. So he has people taking things into their own hands, trying to make him satisfied.
Yeah,
and he may have no idea what's actually transpiring.
We have a saying in my house where there's a billionaire, there's a millionaire looking to become a billionaire under him. Yeah. You know, that guy, that envy and that competition.
That's the guy you got to be scared of.
Exactly right. 100%. Let's get Fred and then get up out of here. How are you, Fred?
Hey, I'm good. So I'm just circling back. I was selling Middletown to you yesterday.
Yes.
So today I'm drinking coffee with a very astute fellow, and he draws my attention that there's someone spraying Roundup out on the sidewalk in one of the tree beds. They have weeds in them.
Yeah.
And he says, he's not signing. There's no signage. So I'm like, is that right? So I run out and I go, hey, man, ain't you supposed to have a sign? No, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, by this point, he'd moved on to the building property.
Right.
And said, oh, no, we're responsible. And he muttered and got about 20 paces and goes, I appreciate you, man. And I'm like, yeah. So meanwhile, by the time I got back inside, my buddy has looked up the code on it. And you got to sign if you spray that stuff even on your private property.
That's right.
You got to put down. Yeah, so this bastard. So I'm just like firing a shot across the bow with this phone call to the Reese On Radio show that I got to take the Diquat glyphosate fight to Middletown. I got to find out who to talk to. Go complain to someone. And then I'm going to put up, I do cartoons and vicious poems. I'm going to put up some signage there.
You got to do it.
It's been poisoned. Yeah.
I'm telling you, this state, I don't know what happened to its sort of the green thumb, but it's gone black. It's gone black.
Dude, black heart, green thumb, black heart.
Indeed.
Right, thank you.
Thank you, boss man. Last but not least, Evan is on the line. How are you, sir?
Hey, good. How's it going?
Pretty good. What's up?
So I actually agree with you on the unscrupulous thing with billionaires. It's not that. I mean, that's a distraction that billionaires like to use. Like, oh, we're not unscrupulous. It's made on the backs of labor. That's truly what it is if you think about it.
But it's not unpaid labor now, Evan. It's not unpaid.
No, it's not.
Right.
It is not. But those billionaires who are not even paying a living wage, I mean, heaven forbid we allow somebody to make enough money to take a week vacation. It's not even a living wage. So that's not cool with me.
Yeah, but you know what? I'll go this far. And this argument's rarely ever made. In fact, I think it's ever made. It's sort of like looking at the college tuition issue, right? Everybody says college is too expensive, but no one ever addresses the professor or teacher salaries. No one ever does, because that's the reason why it's so expensive. Those tenured teachers get six figures, and no one ever addresses it.
You and I agree. We're saying the same thing about the billionaires.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's my point, is that, you know, in order to reach a living wage, we do have to concern ourselves with what is it that people have to live under. So I can work at a job that pays me $25, $35 an hour. But if the rents are $4,000 a month for a studio, I mean, at some point I got to say a livable wage. I can't get a company to pay me what it costs to live in the state I work in. New York is a perfect example of that. So we've got to start addressing how living and working can coincide and sort of like tamp down the amount of money that it costs to live somewhere so that our wages can actually meet that mark, so to speak.
Yeah, there's a finite amount of money in the whole cycle of it.
Exactly.
So where is most of the money sitting and just doing nothing?
Yeah.
It's at the top. It's the executives and the CEOs and the CFOs.
Exactly.
And the Jeff Bezoses and the Elon
Hey,
Musks.
but you know what? I can't
They
expect a
get
guy.
paid as
I
much.
can't expect a guy to live in New York and to be a limited skill worker working in McDonald's and expect him to live comfortably in New York City, because again, that person, in order to live, has got to have 5 jobs. So it's either I've got to raise the guy who's flipping burgers to $45 an hour, or he's got to move. So that's where my
or we
argument
can
is.
do a little bit of both. We can we can pay them a little more and not have billionaires, and we can reduce the cost of living. That's even easier.
Well, that's another argument that we have to have another time, Evan. But I promise you we will have it. Thank you, boss man. Much appreciated.
Thanks.
Our last but not least caller of the day, Evan. It's been a great show. I want to thank Sean Paul Reyes of Long Island Audit. Make sure you go check him out on YouTube. We will have him back to talk about some other stuff that he is doing out there. Independent journalism is important to our daily lives, because tomorrow's show, I'm going to break down to you something that you already knew, but you didn't know how deep it was as far as the media is concerned in the state of Connecticut. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your minds. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese On The Radio. You have a good night, pleasant tomorrow. Bob Larson, he's got weather in for Jason Katarina, and Mark Christopher's getting you home in the BPS Traffic Center. Good night, sir.
All right, Reese, thank you very much. Have a great night. 84 eastbound, just a little sluggish as you move up on 40.
Great show.
Thank
into
you,
the
sir.
tunnel.
Lots
Looks good.
of fun
Western 84
today.
burning out into Farmington.
Yeah, that was good. That was a great interview, too.
Oh, you did enjoy that. Thank you.
Yeah, that was tough.
Thanks, man.
Glastonbury,
All right, I
Marlboro.
will see you
If you're
mañana.
traveling
Yes, sir.
right now, look out for some slow traffic on the north and southbound sides of Route 9 as you approach the Aragoni Bridge. If you're
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll do it all again tomorrow. And I'm going to get in trouble, but I don't care. You guys know what tomorrow is, right? Do I need to tell you? You know what tomorrow is. Come on, Donald. Sing along. Negro nonsense. Negro nonsense. Negro nonsense. You're not going to miss it. You better not. We'll be back. Holla, folks. Be good to each other.